And welcome everyone to another OSR Tabletop with myself, GM Bluddworth. And good evening to everyone for another Sunday night live stream. This is an open mic, but I do have at least one or two topics I wanted to touch upon during the course of this. But I will be, obviously inviting people in and heavily weighing in on your chats as well. So I'm going to begin with, the quick invite and put that out there for anyone looking to jump on in. And there it is. And one of the things I've noticed, because I do follow a lot of different channels out there, and once again, the what is the OSR is kind of recycling itself in the discussions of these last week to 10 days or so. And I'm not going to go heavily into this again. I'm just going to say that whether you consider it old school revival or old school renaissance or old school rules or role play, whether you consider anything from AD&D second edition and earlier to be old school, and anything beyond that is within the modern era or whatnot. You might use something different than I do. I basically say, well, it's old if it's more than 30 years old. It is not it is not old if the game just came out last year, or even within the last 10 to 15 years or so. So we could have all these different descriptives and interpretations of what old school is, and it really doesn't matter, in my opinion. It's whatever you want to run at your table, you're going to run at your table, and however you're going to run it at your table, that's how you're going to run at your table. And success is weighed in whether or not you can fill your table up, and really that's the only thing that truly matters, is that are you able to put together a group of players that on a fairly consistent basis are willing to come to your table and burn a couple hours away in camaraderie and fun and playing a game that you all enjoy. And at the end of that game session, whether it's a 1 hour, 2 hour, 5 hour, or longer game session, if you're looking forward to the next week of gameplay, that's a true measure of whether or not this is the right hobby for you to be in. If you're not having fun doing it, regardless of whatever game system you're running, regardless of whatever label you're placing on it, if you're not having fun doing it, then what's really the point? So get out there and play the games that you want to play. Call them what you want to call them. Run them the way that you run them at your table, and the only true measure of success is whether or not they just keep on coming back for more. So I'm going to leave it at there. I mean, we can get into the various things, and I have in the past. I've actually stated on a number of times the crux of the dispute is what the R stands for. And to me, I take a very literal interpretation of what Renaissance is versus revival. And, that's just two of the possibilities of differences in there. And, and again, I'll state it very briefly here. A Renaissance means that you're tapping into the past, but mixing it with new. And a revival is you're reviving the actual old thing. And so I've argued, over and over again, if you are running, for example, AD&D First Edition, that's a revival. And if you're running Osric, well, that's a Renaissance. Even though they're both based on AD&D First Edition, one is a revival, the actual game. One is a Renaissance. It is a more modern take and modern interpretation and layout and formatting and whatnot of that older game system, and that's what makes it a Renaissance. Now, role playing or rules or whatnot is just the style of play, and you can combine up two of those R's. All right, you can combine up revival with role play or rules. You can combine Renaissance with rules or role play. You cannot combine revival with Renaissance. All right, I've done this over and over, and stated this. It's, but in the end, who really cares? As long as you are enjoying the games that you're running at your table, you're doing it right. And as long as your players keep on coming back, they're enjoying themselves. And that's what it's really all about. So let me say hello to some of the people that have already come in. Howdy, Ducato. How's it going? If you are not subscribed to Ducato's channel, all right, please do so. I'm trying to get Ducato up to at least 500 subscribers. Hopefully by the end of next month, we can get him there. And, that will put him at a point where I think I'll be able to start hyping up his individual videos. He does awesome videos, miniatures painting plus Castles and Crusades recaps of his adventures. Definitely check him out there. All right. We also have Chthonic Musings. Hey, how's it going? And good to see you as always, Mike. And looking forward to. Unfortunately, I'm not going to see you on November 1st at Dire Consequences convention, but I'm sure that I will cross paths with you at another convention going forward. That was the worst news of this past week for me as far as gaming is concerned. That I do have a family obligation that came up for November 1st, and I won't be able to attend that convention this year. Certainly looking forward to it next year, though. Hey, Off Grid, how's it going? Shadow Sunday night AD&D game. Cool. Oh, that's right. Shadow runs his Sunday night game, AD&D First Edition. I'm looking for a time slot to run at least two other games that I'm looking to get into. I'm trying to play test an adventure that I have written for Shadow Dark, and that might actually become a full-blown campaign. I'm not quite sure, but I'm searching for a time slot for that game that I can consistently run. I'm also running Gangbusters BX Thursday mornings from 9 to 11:30 in the morning Eastern time. Looking for some players for that as well. And then I'm running my Castles and Crusades Tuesday nights, and that game group is full at this point. I have 5 or potentially 6 players in that particular group. We've been going for quite some time. I think about 14 or so sessions. The last 2 weeks, I had an interference with work, and so it kind of interfered with running our Tuesdays and our Thursday games. So I'm really looking forward to next week to getting back into that. But anyway, so yeah, a lot going across my own plate as far as trying to get various game systems, under my belt. I'm also writing an adventure for Hyperborea 3rd edition, the first time that I'm putting together an adventure for that. And I'll be looking to play test that, or I might just run it cold at a convention coming up in either April or June. June, I'm slated for it in June, but I might actually run it in April as well. But let's see who else we have in here. And let's see. Longshot, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. And 2 of my high school friends rolled up Adventure Dark and Deep characters this morning with me. 2 friends and my son left to roll up characters, and we start playing in November. Awesome. And yeah, I have Adventures Dark and Deep. I actually have some of Joe. I have at least one of Joe Block's adventures. It's kind of like a very dark carnival adventure. I'll pull that off my shelf sometime and share that with you. That's an awesome adventure. A lot of fun and a lot of things you can do with that particular adventure as well. So yeah, that's a great system, and Joe Block is an awesome guy. So yeah, I support it. I have both 1st edition and 2nd edition now of Adventures Dark and Deep, and I am going to be donating the 1st edition at one of the upcoming conventions that I go to. I'm leaning towards ShireCon, so if you go to ShireCon in September, be on the lookout for a lot of my my donations there. A lot of game content from me at that convention, because that convention, all the proceeds of the auction goes to the VFW where the convention is held at, and that's a great charity for for me to put some of the games up there that I have no longer need to have the shelf space for. Usually editions that I've replaced. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. So good luck with your new campaign, and that's a great system, a lot of fun to check that out. It's really it's Joe Block's interpretation of what AD&D would have been based on Gary Gygax's writings in Dragonfoot and other sources as well. If he wasn't stabbed in the back by Lorraine Williams and the Bloom brothers, and basically ousted him from TSR, that's where, at least according to his writings and according to Joe Block, AD&D would have moved to. So anyway, hey, how's it going, Edward? Edward Kahn, Wave, working on maps and handouts for next week's AD&D game. Wow, a lot of people running AD&D. That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. I've run several campaigns with AD&D, and I'm back to Castles and Crusades, and I'm looking to kind of mix it up a little bit. But it's only a matter of time before I get back to running AD&D again. That is by far my favorite edition of Dungeons and Dragons for long form campaigns. Also looking to do Dragon Slayer, which that's another game system that I want to put some time under my belt of running as well. And there's also there's so many other ones. Dragonbane is another one that I would like to play first and then run. So I'm looking forward to opportunities to play in any of those game systems as well. And a break away from fantasy, I'm looking to, I'll do one shots of basically anything out there. If anyone's running anything and you need a player, just reach out. If it's in a time slot I can jump in on, I'll certainly give it a go. Cool, Coco. It's cool to hear. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. I got a bit of a toothache too, so I'm going to probably end up running to the dentist sometime this week and get that taken a look at. Hopefully, I don't have to pull another damn tooth. I'm running out. Hey, how's it going, Mike? And kind of hard to pick that out of there, but I can see Mike in there. Hey, Mike Necrofence. How's it going? So, so other things going on. So yeah, the OSR. What is the OSR? Once again, is another thing that keeps on propping up and everything like that. And well, I just realized something that will help my toothache is a little shot of rum. I will definitely go off screen for a second and get that going. So I'm looking up at it and I'm like, hey, you know what? That will take care of that. I will be right back. Okay. So I just remembered. That takes care of that little toothache real fine. It tastes a lot better than Oragel as well. So anyway, other things. Hey, if anyone wants to jump in, I will put this up there, and you're welcome to jump in. Let me share a few things. I'm getting ready to work on a video for tomorrow, where I'm going to be talking about dungeon design and for the OSR dungeon design, and I'm going to be speaking quite a lot about the legacy of Janelle Jacques and just the groundbreaking of dungeon design that that she had spearheaded basically, and that's I think a very important topic because it really did change the way that we should look at dungeon design. And then there's other aspects that I like to include in that as well, in making your dungeon a living and breathing place. So be on the lookout for that video tomorrow. I'll probably record it sometime tonight or tomorrow morning before I go off to work, and that will be out there. I'm also going to continue my coverage of my shelf tour, and I'm almost done with my 9th shelf there. So the 9th shelf is the one where you see the OD&D white box, and that is basically my most of my older edition Dungeons and Dragons. So the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition, and then the Beckme books that I have in soft cover, leave them there because I utilize those. Their boxes are actually down below, and then I'm going through some modules and everything. So tomorrow's shelf tour is going to be the only adventure module I have for Oriental Adventures. So I'll be talking about that. And then I'm going to break open the box of, you can see behind my shoulder over there, you can see the World of Greyhawk box set. And I'll be opening that up because I have other things inside that box, as well as the gold box, the World of Greyhawk booklets that are in there. So I'll talk about those other things as well. And then I'm done with that shelf. And then I'm going to move down one shelf to shelf 10, where you see Hyperborea. And I'm going to go through that whole shelf and what I have on that shelf. That one's going to go a lot faster because there's not as much on it. And then I'll go up to the Castles and Crusades that you see, so that's kind of the order that I'm going to. So that is 9. that is 10, that is 11, and then that is going to be 12, like right behind my shoulder there. So that's the next couple of weeks of short videos I'll be covering. So you have kind of like a look forward to what the next 3 shelves I'll be covering, and then I have 2 more shelves behind me that you cannot see, and I'll get to those eventually. Then I'll start doing the bottom row, which is tremendous. There's a lot of stuff on that bottom row. But anyway, so again, anyone wants to jump in, you're welcome to, and talk about your gaming from this past week. This is an open mic. Not too many controversies out there. I mean, I've seen I haven't delved into it very much, but I've seen the contents of the new box set from Wizards of the Coast for D&D, and I think it's a board game, and I think that's I haven't seen the internal contents of the Hellfire Club box set, but I'm pretty much like I saw the contents of it, and it sounds very much the same thing. It's primarily a board game and not something that I'm interested in, and so that's that'll be a pass for me for both of them, unless they're so dirt cheap that that I get them from like an Ollie's or secondhand or whatever, and then I'll actually go through their contents. But I don't see that happening, to be honest with you. So that's something else. Let's see. Speaking of older editions, so let's see what Off Grid has to say. I got to play a cleric in the Dungeon Delvers OD&D online Clericon game last night. It was a blast. Well, hey, that's really cool. And yes, the OD&D is what was the introductory of the cleric, I believe. Also, the first thief was created with the Blackboard group. So that was the first time those character classes had shown themselves. Previously they were not in. The games that Gary wasn't running, obviously, D&D. He was running war games, but they weren't in Dave Arneson's game prior to the 2 groups coming together. Yeah, board games are not tabletop role-playing games. They're not the same thing. You can role play in a board game, but it's kind of it's kind of a stretch to call it that. I mean, you play roles in certain board games. Probably the best example of that would be, and then the weirdest one, the strangest one, is the B-17 Queen of the Skies from Avalon Hill, where you could have different players playing the different positions on the B-17. You had 2 waist gunners, you have the ball gunner, you have the turret gunner, you have the navigator, the bombardier, and the and the pilot, co-pilot, and each of those could be a separate player, and they do gain in experience based on the number of missions that they survive through and whatnot. And so you could technically role play those characters, playing those different positions and everything, and that would be, like I said, it's kind of a stretch, but it's not, it's there is somewhat of a crossover, even though that is primarily a board game. So you could kind of horseshoe in some role play in that if you wish to. No magic missile for magic users. Clerics only heal. D6 plus 1 for cure light wounds. Yeah, it was yeah, it's certainly different rules. I've never played OD&D, but I'd love to. I'd love to give it a shot. Yeah, a beer and pretzels dungeon ROM could look remarkably similar to a game of Hero Quest. Yes. Yeah, you could role play Monopoly if you want to. You can role play, like I said, you can play various roles and everything in any kind of a board game if you wish to. But we all know that there's there is a more clear line between what we call a tabletop role-playing game and what we know of as a board game. And yes, you can have a little bit of crossover between the two, but it's still not what most people would consider to be a role-playing game. Yeah, you could do that, but you would be using very different mechanics in order to produce that, aspect of it as well. So again, it's um, it's just a different approach that you would do. And yeah, that's how you can mix and match genres of gaming, not just genres of, sci-fi versus fantasy or whatever, but genres of games, whether it's tabletop role playing or board gaming, or even a computer RPG as well. You can mix that in there as well. I mean, I could use Skyrim to generate ideas for adventuring using Shadowrim, which is Shadow Dark set in the Skyrim setting. Um, so yeah, that's a lot of times I took Skyrim and some of this, the dungeons and whatnot, which you can find online, and port them right into Roll20, and that became the dungeons that the player characters were, um, dungeon crawling through. So yes, you can have crossovers between genres. So let's see. Other things I haven't been on. I haven't been on the internet very much these last couple of days, other than to just put up some video shorts and whatnot. So not as much as I usually do. And although the weekends I tend not to do very much other than this live stream and maybe a short or two to begin with. And those I so this past week I haven't been delving into very much, and I haven't seen any real controversies or anything doing that. I have not been keeping up with like Critical Role, fourth edition, or the fourth season of Critical Role. So that's another thing that I started watching. I watched like the first 2 hours of the first, and then I stopped. All right. I just did the last of this month's free memberships out there. So no one of consequence. Congratulations, Space Zeus. Congratulations, Norman Avery. Erudite DM. Congratulations, and is that Dickington Post? Congratulations on that. If you go to my Discord channel and just let me know that you gained a membership, even a free one, and that will entitle you to jump in on any of my games that I happen to be running, unless it's completely full, like my Tuesday night Castles and Crusades games. But if you are available, during the other game sessions that I'm running, and I have room in them, you're welcome to join in those. If there's any game system that you're interested in me running for you in particular, or even for your group of players, if you do have a group of players, reach out to me as far as that's concerned as well. And if I can fit it in my schedule and run for like a limited period of time, I'm certainly willing to do that as well. So I can shut that down now. So let's see what else has been going on in the, what else has been going on in the area of gaming. Let me go to my gaming and see what some other people have been covering. So we have D&D was better in the 80s. Agreed. So I'm just looking at some of the quick things that came across. What are the top solo war games? Best solitaire war games. So that's something that's an interesting topic. Back from the Dead. Dragonlance TV show is Back from the Dead. That's from the character sheet on comicbook.com. Is talking about the joining of Tracy Hickman, Margaret Weiss, and Joe Manganiello, who will be, I guess, working together to get their animated series back on track, and that will be very interesting if they are. I'm a bit leery of that if it's still connected to Wizards of the Coast, because we know that they're going to wokeify it, and it's not. I would have much preferred it to be very much independent. As much as Dan Ayub, I believe, is the new head of Dungeons and Dragons at Wizards of the Coast, as much as he's trying to say that he's trying to bring the old school back into the fold, bring some of us that have departed. Quite a few days ago, I put on X a question of, does this mean, and it was based off of his announcement of this joining of Joe Manganiello and Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss, and I said, does this mean that you are going to take down the disclaimer that is on DriveThruRPG? And that was not responded to whatsoever, even though I directed it to him in a direct tweet to him. And so I don't have any faith in Wizards of the Coast to actually produce anything well. They could literally have no control over whatever content they're going to make for this cartoon in order for it to have half a chance of not being a total disaster and a disappointment. So that's where I stand on that. Their greatest success, in these last 5 years or so was Baldur's Gate 3, and they literally had nothing to do with its development other than rubber stamping it and allowing for it to utilize the logo and the IP. But other than that, if they had a more significant role, I'm sure it wouldn't have been as good as it was. You take it easy, Off Grid. Have a good night. Good game tonight. Take care. Hey, DM, how's it going? Good to see you, DM Blackwall. And yeah, I think that's it too. I think exactly, I think I'm dead on with that. If they're going to backtrack and take down that disclaimer, then I will, say, all right, possibly they really do, or he particularly really does believe that that they need to step back away from that and to bring us back in, because most of us are not going to go back in while that disclaimer is still on there. If anyone wants to join in, here is this is open mic, so anything you want to talk about, you can bring up, and you know, yeah, yeah, they're still going to put. They still have that disclaimer on it. I won't touch their product for as long as that disclaimer is on Drive-Through RPG. And secondly, their return to the Borderlands, their box set is not, it's not a role playing game. All right, and if you look at Joe the lawyer's coverage of that, because he actually purchased the thing and started breaking down the adventures that are in there, it's not Dungeons and Dragons at all. I mean, the adventures that they're doing, they're running simple errands that, in the keep, they're running errands that, no one of any real consequence, like no adventurer would actually do. Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, man. How are you?
Good, good. How's it going? So, yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely check out Joe the Lawyer's channel for his coverage of that box set. I mean, it's freaking brutal. It's like, yeah, this is not D&D at all. Let's see. Oh, somebody just responded to one of my comments about Alan Hammock.
Oh, yeah?
My dear friend I game with every weekend is, so this guy games every weekend with Alan Hammock. I was in Alan Hammock's Ghost Tower of the Inverness adventure that he ran at Rising Phoenix in 2023, and it was an awesome experience. I mean, it was incredible to meet him, and yeah, it was just awesome. So this guy plays in his game every week. That's awesome. Yeah, those old school guys. I mean, they run. I've played now in Frank Metzner's game. I've played in Alan Hammock's game, and I've played in Zeb Cook's game of Oriental Adventures, and it was just
really
playing for all of them. Yeah, it was just awesome playing in all of their games, all of them in person too, which was cool. At various conventions at Page 2, and Page 1, Page 2, and then Rising Phoenix is when I met Alan Hammock and played in his game session. So Zeb Cook was at Page 2, and I played in his Oriental Adventures. It was basically the Conan the Barbarian storyline from the 1982 Conan the Barbarian. And I got killed in the witch's house, so the witch's hut.
Okay.
I knew damn well I shouldn't have gone in for the warmth by her fire, but I did it anyway, just for the hell of it, because how could you not, And yeah, my ninja did not come out of that alive.
Yeah, I had a Rob from Pulp Hummock Press die in a game I was running in North Texas. His character was sadly a little too brave.
Yeah. Well, you tend to do that in convention play, because that's just the way that I always go into every game that I'm playing at a convention as a player, expecting that my character will die, because I will test the system. I will be bold, and usually, yeah, there's another backup ready to go, and that's part of the convention style of play.
Mm-hmm. 1 second, I messed with my mic settings.
Hey, RPG Dad, how's it going?
Hopefully that's a little better. I'm trying to get rid of background noise.
Yeah, it sounds like just a little bit of background. It's not terrible.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but it sounds a little bit less. It's like I have a fan blowing in the background.
Yeah, let me try it this way.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. No, that's worse.
Yep, my gain dial is not labeled, so I had to figure out which end was the low end.
Oh, I see. So anyway, So what are you currently running?
I'm currently running mostly dropship, and I'm also running some Horde Wars as well because we're trying to
Yeah.
get as much playtesting in as possible.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really excited to do to get a chance to play Chubby Funster's new game. I think it's called Shadow City. I got a copy like
Oh, cool.
right when the Kickstarter ended, like a
Yeah.
month ago. I think my copy actually arrived like 2 days before the Kickstarter ended because I sent him a check directly.
Ah, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, I wanted to get a signed copy, and so I
Yeah.
messaged him for that. But I want to play that at some point soon, at least within the next 6 months or so.
Right.
Um, but we're working really hard to get dropship done, and
Right.
had an artist flake out about a week ago, so I've been scrambling to get
Wow.
replacements to do all of his commissions.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not just replacements; it's trying to make sure that they're reliable and can deliver on time.
Right. 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 Yeah. You know what? You would think with the you would think that that would be less. I don't want to say it's frequent, but you would think that they wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't flake out. You know, knowing that AI replacement is just a click away. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like fight for fight for your spot. In doing human created art. And
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? It's like because some people will be like, all right, well, screw that. This is why I'm going to use this instead. And it really hurts. It certainly hurts you as an artist. Um,
But it hurts us too
yeah.
functionally because if he'd have let us know, he started doing work for us on this project in March,
Hmm.
um, and so while he is going to complete a few of the remaining pieces, there's a good 70 we had to find new artists for,
Wow.
and because
That's
of the short time frame, we have to pay more. So we figure he's cost us just by doing that somewhere between 1,800 and 5,000.
holy cow. That's insane. That
Yep.
really is. I mean, that's brutal. Like why you would harm your reputation doing that thing. Um, I know, and 99% of the people do, right? So
Yeah.
99% of the people do prefer human art. I, as a consumer, appreciate it more. But if I were creating something and having that kind of an expenditure and then it falls through like that, I mean that would really kind of point me towards you know point me in a different direction.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's a
yeah. So we
shame,
went.
but that's the reality of it. It reminds me of this one time I went into the New York City subway and the the card machine wasn't working, right? You get this like it's a Metro card to get your little Metro card
Mhm.
instead, and you prepay the Metro card. You can fill it up or whatever, but the card wasn't the machine wasn't working. So I went to the woman behind the counter, and she's in the booth and everything, and she points to the machine, and I was just at the machine, it's not working, and she's rolling her eyes, and I was like, listen, you should never be pointing to a machine to do your job. It's like you should be happy that people come to your booth because that's your job security. It
Oh
makes
yeah.
what I'm saying. It's like it just boggled my mind that her first reaction was to point over to the machine. It was like, yeah, I just walked from there, but it's like fight for your own damn position, you know. And that's like the McDonald's kiosks that you see now, and there's fewer and fewer people behind the counter, or the check yourself out at the in the grocery stores now. It's like, you know what? I'm not paying for bags if I have to bag my own groceries. and scan all my stuff too, and then you want to charge 5 cents a bag? No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I actually prefer much older style grocery stores. When I spent a little time in Eastern Europe, I got to experience that, and yeah, I like that better. I like going into a counter, telling them what I want, having them fill the bags and give it to me, and that's it. That's the whole shopping experience. I prefer that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, you can like I can fairly spot, AI as well, and it just doesn't have any. It has no soul to it. It's very lifeless looking stuff. Even if it has vibrant colors, which typically it doesn't, but it just, I don't know. There's just something about it. Like if you're making little avatars for your Roll20, who cares? You know what I'm saying? It's like, for
Yeah.
tokens and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like, yeah, I'll go to, Deviant Art, which I think most of it is probably AI generated now anyway, for tokens and those kinds of things. But I'm talking about when I was putting, I've written maybe 3 adventures, if I'm recalling correctly, for Drive Through RPG. All right, my gangbusters, I used actual archived photographs. You know what I'm saying? It's like I used, because that kind of fits with, gangbusters. So I was like, all right, cool. I don't want an artist for this. I don't want an handwritten thing. I want actual photographs from the time period.
Sure.
And so that, to me, like doing that, using that kind of either photography or even art, older stuff, because I did some stuff with Mifrog as well, and I did I got like really old artwork, like hand sketches and things like that, from stuff that was like from the 1600s, and their take on mythology and that kind of thing. And it's all, that was all public domain kind of stuff. So I'd rather use that because it just fits fit that kind of feel of the game. But I look at some art like Joey Dossel. I really love his stuff. That Throwy Games uses, Tom Wilson uses for his Shadow Dark materials, and that guy puts out like awesome art. I mean, it really does match what Shadow Dark is looking to do. So that's a great artist for you to look into if you've never checked out his stuff.
Yeah, it's been an interesting scramble this week, getting a bunch of different artists chosen. We've got most of the pieces assigned now. I still got to find somebody to do like another 10 or so, but it's also why we're doing a Halloween sale. We wouldn't typically, but we're like, it looks like we're going to need some more money to pay for art. So
Right.
thus the current sale we're running, which is like $10 off all our physical products, and then also we throw in a couple miniatures as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing that sale. I have to jump on that. I have to jump on that this week. When's that end? That particular sale you're doing?
31st.
The 31st. So, yeah, I'll definitely jump on that. Let's see. The best is where you check yourself out on the machine, and then it asks if you want a tip. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's crazy. It really is. It's like people want to automate, and they want to charge you for you doing their work.
Well, you think about that as it applies to art. I understand why people would go to AI art because, for example, Kelsey with Shadow Dark, she had to essentially save money and spend it on artwork over the course of a couple of years, it sounds like, just in order to get the artwork for her initial book. And also was getting some friends to do artwork and that kind of thing, and kept it really minimalist, black and white, just to be able to cost save.
Yeah.
I mean, for me and my co-author, the bulk of the cost of our book production is artwork.
Yeah.
Horde Wars cost, I think, 10,000 in art.
Wow,
Um,
that's insane.
15,000 total to
Yeah,
produce. 10,000 art.
yeah,
Dropship looks like it will cost more like 11 or 12,000 in art. Like that's that's just the reality. And if you're unable to either get a successful product going and then use that to kind of bankroll the next one, or just unable to save up in general to
yeah,
take the risk, it's very difficult to do a reasonable sized book
yeah,
and also have artwork that you pay for. Like it's very expensive.
yeah. So I know. I mean, it's a, you know, it is a valuable skill to have, and I'm all for people doing it. I know, like, when I go to, I have a couple of tattoos, and you know, when they're off the wall, they're a lot cheaper. But if you go in there and you say, well, this is kind of what I have an idea for, expect that it's going to be twice as much. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Because
yeah.
now they have to create it, and then create a stencil for it and everything like that. And you'll pay, for what was like a $250 tattoo is now going to run you about 400,
Hmm.
because they'll have to spend. And even if they could churn that thing out in a half an hour, which most can. Most can actually hand draw out whatever you had in mind, and do a few tweaks, and they can bang that thing out in like a half an hour. But you're going to pay $150 for that, original art,
Oh
to
yeah.
begin with. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
which is fine. I mean, that's awesome. I you know, but then it ends up on the wall, and someone else is going to get that later on for the original 250.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I will say one of the artists for Horde Wars Advanced was a tattoo artist,
Hmm.
and I know she does some custom pieces that don't go up on the wall.
I am.
That it's make it just for this person and then it's done.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I imagine typically that would be more cost
Yeah.
effective for the artist.
I don't know what this means.
Weizenbaum said that a computer can never create. A learned language model is a computer.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, well, yeah. I mean, it can only cut and paste from what it's finding online, to put it together. That's why you get some of those like weird things. Like that image that was put out by Dungeons and Dragons. That one, with the parade, whatever the heck that was, the
Yeah, that looked pretty
pride
weird.
parade one. And if you look closely at that, it's AI. It's AI generated. You look at the feet of some of those, some of the figures in there, and you look at I think the kobold, one of the kobolds in the forefront has like 5 legs. It's like
Oh, weird.
yeah, it's really weird. It's like, is that a leg? Is that an arm? Like, just doesn't make any sense. But then one of the figures just past that kobold that's running along the bottom, you can see that the feet are all deformed and everything. The boots are all deformed and everything. I was like, oh, this is AI generated on top of, being just a bad image. You know,
Well, that I mean, I think it was entirely appropriate. It was an excellent symbol of where they're going with the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no, it was personally, it was a purposeful, you know, thumb in the eye to old school gamers, which kind of defies what Daniel, I think it's Daniel Ayub is trying to say. It's
Exactly.
like, no, if you're, you know, if you're inviting us in, but then doing things that are, a thumb in the eye, then you're being two faced about it. How's it going, Death Angels?
I'm hanging in there. Doing actually I'm pretty excited. I've got a been busy. I got a couple of things coming to fruition this week, so
Cool.
um kind of hopefully everything's going to work out, but I've got confirmations from a bunch of people
Nice.
and going to be doing about the Portal to Adventure, right, from the Arden guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've got them Dave and George and Griff Morgan, and
Mhm.
I just got confirmation a little bit ago that Matt from Barrows and Borderlands, I think it is. His so the I've got those what I guess it's 5 guys going to be on with me and Jason on his Jason's channel, and then
Cool.
also going to have Griff and a couple of the guys from like Roger from North Texas, or not Roger from CNY,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then
Oh,
Bad
that's gonna be
Mike.
Tuesday night.
This is going to be on Thursday. It's going to be
Oh,
Thursday.
And what are you doing?
So the Thursday discussion is going to be it's going to be that's their Kickstarter ends Friday at night
all right.
at like 11:59 or whatever. Once it hits midnight Saturday, then their Kickstarter is over. So it's kind of like this is their last push week, and I'm like, hey,
Hmm.
you know, I'd love to have
Yeah,
you guys on. I'd been chit chatting with them about a few things on their Kickstarter messaging thing, and so they're going to come on with me and Jason on Sci-Fi for Me TV, and then Saturday we're going to do a thing, and we're talking about all these small conventions. So that's where I'm going to have Roger on, and then Griff is going to come on that one as well, talking about Arnicon and
right.
Bad Mike, Mike from North Texas Con,
Hmm.
and I think we're going to have Don some more on as well from Wizard Con.
WizCon.
So,
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm trying to get some some activity, some more stuff
that's cool.
lined up.
Yeah,
So that'll be good. I'm excited. I
yeah.
talked to Griff today for probably an hour, and I talked to Dave and George from Arduin. Must have been a couple of hours on the phone on
Yeah,
Friday.
yeah.
They're
I've
all great.
interviewed Griff, and no, he's a really interesting guy and really cool, to have him on and everything. So yeah, he has a lot of really good insight. I mean, he's so connected to that particular, that particular group of people. I mean, he has direct access to the Blackmore group. Those
Right.
surviving members. So yeah, he's a great guest to have on your channel. Um, I've had I've spoken to Don hundreds of times at this point now, and the other guys from Arduin I haven't had the opportunity to talk to directly,
Yeah.
about any of their projects or anything like that, and I did reach out to them like a while ago through Shadow and Son. Like his Shadow has a good connection with them.
Yeah. I was watching because I'm trying to do show
Yeah,
prep stuff, right? And it's Jason's channel, but
yeah,
he pulls me in on any of the tabletop stuff,
yeah.
and I was trying to do show prep, the past few days, and in the hopes that Jason gave this a green light.
Hmm.
His channel, his decision.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, and I was watching one of them. They were using Restream, so they had this little side chat on,
Mm.
and I saw something about Shadow and Son in there commenting on it, and about how I guess his son, the son part of Shadow and Son,
Yeah.
had actually done some artwork, and he's only a teenager,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. So, and
Yeah.
I didn't know that, I mean, it's of course
Mm.
I know Shadow and Son through James, who
Yeah.
you know, so kind of small world vibes.
Yeah. 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 Well, Shadow's played he's been in my gaming group now for going on 3 years. Um,
Mm.
yeah. So he started with me around, I'd say like week 16 or so in my AD&D campaign back in 2023 or
Oh wow.
2022. Yeah. So he's been in my group since 2022 at least.
I mean,
Um,
that's not a small insignificant amount of time
no, no,
by
it's
any.
going
Yeah.
on. That's virtually every week for the last 3 years. He's been in. either my AT&D group or my Castles and Crusades group and everything. So,
Yeah.
he's a really cool guy.
Oh yeah. I
Good
think
addition to the group. Because the rest of my players have been with me 4 or even 5 years now. So, but anyway, as far as my interviews coming up, I have Venture Satanis coming on November 9th.
that's
I
cool.
want to say,
Have
yeah,
you
Sunday,
Avengers.
November 9th. What's that?
Have you talked with him before?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've interviewed him. I played in a couple of his game sessions too when he was running Chalt on Roll20. So yeah, I've spoken to him a number of times. He's a really cool guy too. He's very low key, not like his persona. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he's a much nicer guy than most people would give him credit for. And but no, he's an interesting guy too. I mean, his work is just different, than
Yeah.
anyone else's. I mean, he has that Gonzo.
He embraces the Gonzo. Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely has that down as good as anybody. And his art style and his writing style and his books are phenomenal.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, like the Chalt books and everything. I mean, they're as good as, like, I'll grab one. They're as good as self-publishing as you can get. I mean, so this is his hardcovers, right? And I mean, you go in there, he puts a little original art on the front there, but I mean, you just look at the art and the layout, the quality of everything, and it's you can see like the cross stitch binding and everything like that. I mean, these are well put together, books, and this is all original art that that he put together. I mean, this is his stuff.
I know he did some art stuff too. He didn't do all the art though, and I'm sure.
No. Let's see who he has as listed as his artists in here.
Because I think he made it. I saw him a couple of videos of his where he was making like the cards or whatever.
Yes. So let's see. He has the cartography and layout is by Glyn Seal, and
Okay.
Glyn does great work too. Let's see. Interior art by Yannick Bouchard, Brent Schreiber, Dan Brown. Dan Brown, I've heard that name before. Paul
Not the one from the movies.
No, probably
Yeah.
not. Paul Carrick, Luke Oram. I've heard that name before too.
Yeah.
Matthew Bailey and Slappy. Yes, some Adobe stock art thrown in there, licensed, art. But yeah, I mean, so he has a handful of artists that are that he uses, plus his own. Like he does his own maps and stuff like that.
I know. I've heard him mention that he did such a large print run of one of his projects that he's like still sitting on a lot of it. Was that his core book, or was it something else?
That was the first one, yeah.
Okay.
That was the first one, but he practically gives those things away now. Yeah, because he said he had them in his garage in a pallet and everything like that. But he lets those things go for like $20 a pop now, something like that. For that quality of a hardcover, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't, because I know Pundit has his Gonzo book too.
Yeah.
And I think they chide each other.
Oh yeah, because Pundit would be like, he's not OSR, which if you look at I mean, there's nothing OSR about Crimson Dragon Slayer. If you've ever looked at that, I mean, it doesn't even it doesn't even follow. It's not even remotely related to, not even remotely related to D&D. I mean, yeah, it says hit points. That's about
Well,
as.
well. I mean, here's a question: does for something to be OSR, and I guess it depends on whether it's revival, renaissance, or
Yeah.
does it have to be like D&D?
No. It depends on the OSR that you're talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's very few. There's very few OSRs that are not derivative of D&D, but there are some. I mean, there's a
Traveler's not. Traveler's definitely not a derivative.
no.
Because
Traveler.
Travelers is as old, basically as old as D&D.
Oh yes, and,
Yeah.
and Traveler. I do. I don't exclude. I don't exclude other game systems from OSR as far as revival is concerned.
Right.
But wouldn't it make sense in terms of if you were to label your book with it anyway, for it to be compatible with OSR products? Because the core of that movement, at least 5 or 10 years ago, was essentially compatible with some version of AD&D, second edition D&D, or an older
third
version.
3.5, yeah, or third, third. That's if you're talking about Renaissance, and again, the like all definitions, the definition evolves over time, and my only quibble over it is that Renaissance and Revival have their own set definition.
Yeah.
That is not malleable. It's like Revival is not is not anything but a return to. That's literally what the word means.
Yeah.
And so you cannot have you cannot have an old school revival of a game system that's 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, that's not a revival.
That's just a new printing or a new edition.
You can still buy it on the shelf. It's not a revival. It's still there.
Yeah.
You're reviving something.
You're restocking the shelves.
Yeah. It's like, there were stocked to shelves by Tuesday. That's not a revival.
Well, the reason I ask is because some people describe Horde Wars as OSR and others do not agree with that assessment. And I think it's basically based on that exact difference in definition. Like, our game is not mutually compatible with D&D. It's certainly related to it in terms of the ideas and the genre.
Right.
But the rule set is very different.
Right. So then it's an old school feel, which falls under role play, which is the other R sometimes, right? Because it's the R that is the question. You know what I'm saying? So is it revival? Is it Renaissance? Is it rules? Is it role play? And when they say role play, they mean the gaming style, the feel.
The feel. Yeah.
All right. The rule sets is like, if you have hit points and armor class and it's a little bit more severe and unforgiving, like Shadow Dark, right?
Sure.
So Shadow Dark is a Renaissance game. It's an old school Renaissance game. It's a modern game with some old school elements to it. Plus it's a derivative of D&D on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's but it's also derivative of DCC and index card RPG and other game. Like, it has elements of those in there as well, such as unpredictable magic in some cases and whatnot. So you have, the OSR is an important classification. Yes, it is an important classification, and it has a lot to do with labeling and sales too. Let's not, get away from that fact as well. So, there was a time when slapping on OSR was meant as a marketing tool, and just like throwing D&D, logo on something
or the
It's like, oh, this
5E
is,
or whatever. Yeah.
this is whatever, and people connect to that, but it's
Well, I think it helps. It helps consumers, uh, like us, potential consumers, know what feel they're going for.
yeah,
But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's actually what it is. When you get it.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
it's like the RPG pundit will say that it's a design philosophy, which is partly true as well. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that RPG pundit considers the definition of revival the same way
right,
that I do.
yeah,
Like he doesn't like I don't think he believes that you're participating in old school revival by playing the old edition. You know, to him that's not revival, or he doesn't acknowledge revival. I think he's squarely in the old school Renaissance as a movement
yeah.
more so and a design philosophy rather than simply a way of playing the games.
And he would definitely categorize his own stuff as OSR.
Oh yes, of course.
I mean,
It's like you know whether it whether it fits into several of those definitions, even the ones that he doesn't like necessarily acknowledge or not. You
yeah,
know, but I know when he's looking at like Crimson Dragon Slayer, he was like, that's not OSR. And I agree with him. It's really not. Because he really just uses like a three attributes, for your character, in there, and it's not even remotely related to Dungeons and Dragons in that sense. I mean, yes, it has thieves and sorcerers and those kinds of things,
well,
but
they
those
don't
are
even.
not
I mean, they don't even have thieves in 5e, so
right. Right. Yeah, what I'm saying. It's like
they're rogues.
they, he has like blood magic, right, which is a
Yeah,
really cool thing. You know, so it's like, yeah, when you're casting, you're losing your own life force. You lose your own hit points by casting blood magic, but he
yeah.
does have humans and dwarves and halflings and gnomes and elves and dark elves,
Well,
have
so did
orcs,
Token.
demons,
Token
pixie fairies, crystallines, reptilians, and droids. So
droids.
yeah, well, because it's a mix of sci-fi.
Oh
It's
yeah,
Gonzo, right? So it's
yeah.
sci-fi and fantasy.
And Gary, I think, even went through a phase with that stuff too.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah. No,
White Plume
Gary was
Mountain, wasn't it? White Plume Mountain where they had
no Barrier Peaks,
Barrier Peaks. That's
and
it.
but yeah, no,
Where you're
Gary
actually
was,
in a spaceship. You find a
yeah,
spaceship. You're in it. You just don't know it's a spaceship yet. You
yeah,
think it's a dungeon. Yeah. I don't. I don't know.
yeah. Palladium is another old school, and whether it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Palladium Fantasy, they're both old school. You
What
know what
about
I'm saying?
GURPS?
GURPS
GURPS.
too.
GURPS.
GURPS is old
Yeah.
school. I consider
God.
anything that's 30 years or older to fall squarely within what is considered old school. You know, almost similar to like the comic book industry where they're like, oh, Silver Age is 25 years or older. You know, there is anything prior to that is modern. You know what I'm saying? It's like maybe not quite contemporary, but it's certainly a modern era. So I look at gaming pretty much the same way. So someday, and I say this, and I've had people be like, "Oh no, it's not going to be the case." 30 years from now, 5e is going to be old school.
Well, 3E is already 22 years old.
Yeah, yeah. Like the
3.5 is, I should say.
eventually, it is going to evolve to the point that we're going to go through enough years that you know it's going to be part of an old school era.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. I've used, and I'm sure you've heard my talk on, driving one Sunday morning, and I'm on an AM station for whatever reason. I'm listening to an AM station. I'm like, oh, here's the morning oldies, and
Yeah.
Motley Crue comes on.
That's
I'm like,
yeah.
oh my God. I was like, Motley Crue is now on the morning oldies. And that's where I had that epiphany where I was
Hmm.
like, You know what? Someday 5e is going to be considered old school.
I think I countered with hearing something like Enter Sandman on Muzak. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
oh no,
in the elevator. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's like it's just eventually it's going to become, you know, it'll become classic rock. Even
no,
though
God.
from
No,
our youth.
classic rock is that stuff from before the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, but it's gonna move forward.
You
It's
know,
gonna,
my dad listened to golden oldies. You know, that was the
yeah.
stuff from the 50s and the 60s.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess it's a generational perspective.
So other game systems. Well, GURPS is still running. Call of Cthulhu is still running, although they've changed their game system, but it's
Yeah,
still Call of Cthulhu. It's
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun. I never played like old Shadowrun.
Well, but he's
Um,
saying company, not game.
yeah.
Well, I mean, who
Um,
was it? Who was it made Shadowrun? And then
well, he's saying
Altus
they're still
Learning.
has not changed their system. Um, I mean, Castles and Crusades, which is not quite old school. It's still part of like the, second wave of the OSR.
Well,
You know,
technically
or
CNC.
actually, it's first wave of the
I was going to say
OSR.
technically CNC predates the OSR
Yeah. Um,
because I think Tenkar calls it proto OSR
I think
because
they made it in like '04, right?
well, yeah, they
uh
started writing it in
2003.
03, but
Yeah.
it was published in 04. Yeah.
So what happened is some of the guys who wound up going on, I think the Osric guys,
Yeah.
they tested it and they didn't like that it was using a D20 base.
All right.
That wasn't old school enough, and that was embracing the new, you know. So that's why they created Osric. That's the history that I've heard. Now,
Yeah.
your mileage may vary, but
Yeah. Yeah. But it
um,
does. It does. And some people do say it's the first of the OSR.
yeah,
But yeah, and they are an example of someone who really hasn't changed their game system in
nope,
up to their 10th printing, because they don't use editions, and that's
right,
because they don't change the game system.
right,
The game system went through a change in 2010 when James Ward worked on the encumbrance system, and they reworked the monk and the barbarian, and that was the last time that there was a change in the game
yeah.
mechanics.
And before that, it was adding levels because it
Yeah,
used to only
before that
go up
was
to like
adding levels
14.
and fixing layout and
Yeah,
I
and
I haven't played enough Castles and Crusades to know what it was, but I was reading up on this recently, and they had some kind of change in 2017. I think though it wasn't to the core books, it was some kind of supplement that like added a new rule set.
oh,
Um,
or
hmm.
2017. Well, the books that they released was like the Adventurers backpacks,
Yeah,
and that added new classes, new,
right,
maybe some new optional rules to
yeah,
yeah.
like the magic point system rather than Vancian.
hmm
So that might have came in 2017.
that
Yeah,
sounds right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, because I guess originally, well, and don't forget they had Gary was still alive then, and had significant influence on what they were doing, back in the early eras. So Nirvana, Nirvana's not classic rock. That's that new wave crap.
I know, yeah.
Grunge killed music, man. Although I do like some Alice in Chains, classic Alice in
Yeah.
Chains. That's my genre. I'm a metalhead. What can I say?
Yeah. I like some of
I'm
the grunge too,
I'm I'm excited that
yeah.
Iron Maiden, Megadeth, and Anthrax are going to go on tour together. I may have to drive up to Kentucky to go see them, but
Yeah. Well, you'll never see Megadeth and Metallica going on tour with each other.
believe it or not, though they have appeared together on stage. So Dave Mustaine is they've kind of more or less buried the hatchet, but for years
I
yeah. Yeah, they, of course, Megadeth released what they're claiming is their last album.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Eh,
So
I think it's likely, given their ages.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
I mean, but Kiss is how many times did Kiss go on a farewell tour? Motley Crue went on a farewell tour, and then they came back. So
But I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't think Megadeth is tons younger than band members.
well, no, I mean
oh
Dave Mustaine is right up there. He's probably 65, something like that.
yeah, they're all pushing in their
They're
60s.
they're they're about 10 years older than me. Maybe
Yeah,
62.
yeah, they're all in their
62 to 62 to
yeah,
67, somewhere in that.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. They're
Um,
they're they're pushing up there. I know.
Dave Mustaine is 64 years old.
Yeah, yeah. We had this discussion. Like, I was chatting with somebody else the other day, or maybe yesterday, actually, and they brought up like Ron Perlman, and they said, "Oh yeah, Ron Perlman's in his 60s." I was like, "No, he's not. He's older. He's 75." And I was like,
I was going to guess
Wow.
80, but all right.
"Yeah, yeah, he's 75." I was like, "Yeah, he's like you know, yeah, he's much older than us. It's scary, because I'm pushing. I'll be 59 this upcoming March, and I'm starting like I'm looking at these things. They'll show these these
March, huh?
women from the 80s and everything, and they show them over time and everything. I'm like, damn. I was like, you know, this person is only like 2 years older than me, and back when I was back when I was a kid, I didn't even think that they were that, like, I always thought they were older,
Yeah,
than
I
than
had
what
this.
they were, but it was like, wow, she was only 20 when I was 18, and I always thought that she was in her mid 20s or whatever,
I
you
I
know.
I th- I used to think that when I got into when I got into metal, I think I was probably going into somewhere between middle school and high school. You find your clique and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And I used to think, man, these guys are like in their 30s,
Yeah.
and I'm a teenager, and no, they're only 10 years older than me.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
and now I'm like, oh well, hell, I got friends that are older than them.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
got old man hobbies. Not just old school tabletop, but you know,
So I think you guys know this probably about me. I like dinosaurs, and so that's why we got dinosaurs in Horde Wars. Today I was working on dinosaurs for Dropship, space dinosaurs. They can't be real ones.
Cool.
I was gonna say feathers
Yeah.
uh,
No, that's bastardized science. Not using that.
okay.
Well,
Feathers or what would you call reptilian skin?
That works.
Yeah,
Reptile skin. Yeah.
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 I
I,
mean,
I
we still have
actually.
dinosaurs back in Florida. We had dinosaurs that
Yeah.
still roaming around.
Yeah.
They got lots of teeth, and they're pretty quick too.
Actually, I'm adapting red nails to Hyperborea for a
Oh,
convention
cool.
adventure, and it has dinosaurs. I'm like, all right, does Hyperborea have dinosaurs? And in one of the adventures, he does have the dinosaurs laid out. So I was
Well,
all right, cool. So I picked that up. At the last convention I was at, where Jeff Talanian was there,
yeah.
and I was like, all right, cool. I'm putting this together, and I'll be running that adventure. So I'm there, you know, reading through my, you know, reading through my savage tales, and it has red nails in there, and I'm like, all right, what do I need? I need a vampire. I need this, fake, ghost type things, and I need a Stegosaurus, and I need put an Allosaurus in there, and I need a Triceratops, for the field when they go out into the field and everything. So I was like, all right, and then I need my cultists and my crawler
Yeah.
in the dark kind of thing. Did I mention vampire? At least one vampire. The
Mhm.
queen in that city is a vampire
So,
or
so,
vampire-like.
so for me, Horde Wars and Dropship are going to be close enough in terms of compatibility that they'll be able to use T-Rex or the Stegosaurus or other things from that game in
Yeah.
dropship if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure we made either some alien ones or some ones that were described in ancient history but have not been officially identified by modern science. And so I've been reading some old descriptions of dragons and dinosaurs from the past, and then making versions for this game, which has been really fun today. How did you do it with your conversion? Like, did you modify any of those stat blocks, Richard, or did you just copy them?
No, I'm going to take them. I'm going to take them straight from the, because I'm using that game system, so they're stat blocked already for it.
Cool.
So that's not an issue. I have to look at Hyperborea and see. I'm sure he probably has vampires, but if he doesn't, then I'll grab them from. He's got to have vampires. But this is the adventure that I got because it's literally, dinosaurs and a temple in the center of
Right.
a jungle and everything like that. I was like, my gosh, it's like, pretty much grabbed right from.
I mean, you could
right
see
now, it's the perfect game system to run off of it. I'm pretty sure.
just throwing the giant apes, and you've got.
Yeah, well, there was no apes in this one. Not in this one. You just have those two like backwards cults, not cult, but tribes that lived within the city. That and probably some zombies and stuff like that. I'll throw in there. Let me see Hyperborea. Let me look up and see.
And I think Chuck was saying that in Trollord's aired that in what's the island he's working on in Inclay or something like that.
Oh yeah. They're working on something new.
Yeah, he's working on. I think he's going to be doing that island. He does a Friday morning stream when he's not getting ready to head off to a con or something. And he's always working on that stuff. And Inclay, I can't pronounce it. Inclay, INKL, whatever. Any rate, and I think that one's supposed to have dinosaurs and stuff like that on that island too. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I don't have an objection to.
Yeah.
They're not going to be running around like the civilized parts of
yeah
of the area, but I could certainly see them in the more tropical,
Yeah. Let me find it. It's faster to find it this way.
I'm probably going to be running in Aired. It's probably where I'm going to be running most of my stuff at. But I am looking forward to this Portal to Adventure, box set because it's got Tanasporg as well as all the Arduin stuff. And
right.
And I'm like, I was telling the guys, like, yeah, I want, I think it's KHAAS, KHAAS. Is that how you pronounce it?
For what?
For the, I think that's the land. I think that Arduin is a part.
That I'm not familiar.
Yeah, I'm not either, and
I'm
never
not really
saw
familiar with Arduin at all.
Because that was the first question when I got on the phone with them. They said, were you familiar with Arduin? And I'm like, actually, no. I know Tanasporg.
Yeah.
I've wanted Tanasporg now for a couple of years now. But Arduin, somehow I missed it. And of course, I got into gaming in 85, but I was young still, and then went through ups and downs of whether or not I was actively gaming for a long time. Life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I never, we used to go up to Enterprise 1701 in Orlando over by the Navy base, back when there was a Navy base in Orlando, and for that matter, an Enterprise 1701. And go look at all, that was the big game store that you would go to in the Orlando area. that and Coliseum Comics, which is still around. Coliseum's still around, and it's spread now. They have stores all over Central and West Central Florida. But all we've got we've got a Sci-Fi City in Knoxville, which is not bad, but then you got to drive into Knoxville, and there's another local store up there near me, about 25 minutes from me, that I'm trying to get him to pick up some Castles and Crusade stuff. I'm going to start doing that. So
I mostly buy miniature modification tools or like putty or sculpting tools or even just or paint brushes and that kind of thing at local
yeah,
stores. I don't usually buy games at them anymore. Partly
really,
partly because I get to conventions enough
uh,
currently, but also partly because I've started getting to know a number of indie authors, and so when they are putting out something new that looks interesting to me, I'll just order it from them.
yeah, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, you had mentioned this. What region of the country are you in, or what region? I guess of the area of the
Oh,
continent.
I'm in Michigan.
Okay, okay. So yeah, I'm in Tennessee. I'm in East Tennessee, near the Smokies, and
Okay. I
but I grew.
drove through there on the way to Texas in about 4 months ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you've been on I-75 or I-40, or well, 75 and 40 run, they merge together through Knoxville.
Hmm.
Yeah, you were not too far from my house. Um, but I have. Did you go to North Texas Con or something like
Yeah.
that? Is
Yeah,
okay.
we had a booth there. We're set up for a booth next year as well.
Okay. So Mike Baldado, Bad Mike, he's actually going to be on that Saturday stream that
Cool.
I'm doing, talking about the cons, because he's going to talk about North Texas Con. So,
Yeah,
um,
it was pretty neat. We had I want to say 9 events on the schedule originally, and we
yeah.
wound up running 11, I think, maybe
Okay.
12. Um, and so that was nice. And I got some idea after having been there about um, a little bit to do to adjust our inventory for the venue.
Right.
But it was really fun, and I got to play in some other people's games. But my favorite thing was actually playing a card game from the '80s called like Nuclear War or something like that,
Oh, sweet.
which was pretty fun. Although it quickly became, as I was playing with the guys from Black Lodge Games and the guys from uh, Second Watch and Show Me
Gordon Mattias
Funster.
and
Um,
Gary. Yeah.
it quickly became uh, a religious war. It was like the Catholics versus the Orthodox versus the Protestants versus whatever DM Cloaker's group was. It was actually quite funny
That's hilarious.
because the two guys from Black Lodge Games both decided to be the Irish. So one was the Northern Irish and one was the
The British.
independent
Yeah.
Irish.
Okay. So one was the ally. One was part of the UK, and one one was the rebels trying to fight
Yes,
against them.
yes, they definitely helped drive the conflict.
Yeah.
But it was pretty fun, and it was interesting because you normally had to telegraph your move effectively a turn ahead, so people tended to get the ability to react. But once the war kicked off, it kicked off really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. You had. Let me turn my camera on here. Well, I guess I have to turn my camera on. On.
But
You
yeah,
had
I got to
mentioned
play
a
in some
couple
other
of things.
games as well. Yes, that one.
That one, yeah. Notice I got it in both forms,
Nice.
and then I got what was this one? I think,
Oh, that's cool.
and these are by Rob Conley, which I'm still waiting for his.
Yeah, I'm waiting
his
on that too.
but here's the ones. Took a little longer than I expected for the print on demand for these. I was kind of like worried.
I know there was a delay from drive-through in general for
Was there? And
yeah.
I thought that they were printed actually here in Tennessee. I had presumed that they were over probably by Memphis because, that's where FedEx is. So why not? But they were printed in Georgia.
Yeah, drive-through farms out their printing to other companies.
So they must use more than one.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Um, but um, but on the, yeah, no, I was really excited to get that. Mostly actually because of the city generation.
Yeah. And the thing that I loved because I got to interview him too a few months ago, and he was talking about, and I haven't even looked in this about, he did something that I had never thought of doing, and I'm sure he's not the originator of it. Almost maybe he is, but when he was showing me how he does his mapping,
Oh, the
and
node-based mapping. Yeah.
yeah, I had never that that's a foreign concept to me. I had never seen that done before. I was like, that's kind of cool because that's kind of a quick, easy way to do. Because I've got like I swear to God, I went on a kick buying. I got campaign cartographer 3 on some humble bundle, which you got. I probably saved $1,000, but I spent $30 or $40, right? And
Yeah.
still, if I wanted more, if I wanted to complete the set, it would cost me another $2,500, right? So, because every little individual module they sell, and of course it's very CAD like, very steep learning curve. I got Arkenforge from the Aussies down under,
Mhm.
which is a great thing. It's AI thinks it's a VTT. If you ask AI about it, it is technically not a virtual tabletop because it's not designed for online play. It is designed for in person play, but it is a visual mapping type system where you can use a projector or like mounting a TV in a table type of thing.
That's cool. Yeah.
And yeah, and so it's designed for that.
So
Again, you got to have the hardware to run it, though. You're not going to run it on a cheap laptop.
yeah. So node-based mapping. I don't know where Chubby got the idea, but I have done node-based mapping for dungeons, not ahead of time, but to track them when I'm procedurally generating them,
Yeah.
like as we're playing,
Hmm.
for a while. But I didn't get that idea from like any RPG stuff. I got it from like flowcharts.
Yeah. I hated flowcharting.
Well, like it or not, it is not a bad way to track a dungeon you're procedurally generating now.
Oh yeah. I see the value in it. For especially for generation. Now then you may want to turn around and go back and map it out later
Yeah,
as a classic map. But yeah, for procedurally generation, oh yeah, man, that would be. I could definitely see that as being a great benefit.
yeah, because the key there is speed and accuracy.
Right. There's only one way this way, or
Hmm.
there's only one way that way. But he spent quite a bit of time explaining how he did it on that interview we did with him. So but it was just like, that's such a cool way to do it. Like, I don't know where he got the idea. So, but I may do that in the future for some stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the challenges that we're going to have with the current game we're working on, and I'm looking ahead at our next one, which is why I was so excited to see how Chubby Funster took a stab at city mapping because we're going to have to do that for the third product we're working on, but third major product. But the one we're working on right now, the tricky part is we're dealing with different scales, right? We're dealing with parsecs and light years and sectors of space versus um, character scale stuff like in yards or meters or miles or kilometers,
Yeah.
and like making sure it's a clean transition in the players' heads, so there aren't to make it clear, not confusing, and also still relatively easy to map at two very different scales.
Yeah. I mean, I can, when I think of meters and our European Pretty much everybody else in the rest of the world laugh at us, but when I think of meters, I think of yards.
Of course.
That's how I think because I can visualize a yard.
Yep.
And the only way to me to visualize a meter is think of a yardstick. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, we did it. So basically, at the character scale, one combat space in our game is 2 yards or 2 meters instead of like 5-foot squares or 5-foot hexes. And we
Yeah.
did that deliberately so there'd be those are close enough that you get a pretty clean conversion.
yeah, and it works up to a point. I mean, 39 inches in a meter versus 36 in a yard. But
Oh yeah, that works perfectly fine for the purpose of determining how far you can shoot a bow or a gun.
yeah,
The difference of a couple yards is not the number you're worried about.
right. Now, once you start talking about miles or kilometers, that's when you start diverging. That's the
Mhm.
hard one. I can see that.
I was going to jump on this comment here real quick.
Mhm.
So you're playing online is, well, first of all, you could do face to face, just like kind of doing here, right? With playing online, so we turn on our cameras, usually on a secondary device. We're using a VTT.
Mhm.
We're using voice. We're using Discord for both visual and audio, and it's a different experience.
Mhm.
That's certainly for sure. It is. It's far better than play by post or play by mail even earlier.
Which
Or
was done back in the day.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know,
Or play by BBS in the old days. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's certainly you know. So I do not like play by. I've done both. I've done play by email, and I did that with Twilight 2000, and that was just tedious. I was like, no, this is not. I didn't
It's
even feel like I was playing a game. I felt like I was writing a book report. You
well, it's
know,
a slow game anyway. So
huh?
it said it's a slow game anyway, so that didn't help.
Yeah, yeah. And then you had to wait on every. I was just no. I was like, oh no, no. And then see, Venger, when he runs his games online, he'll use Roll20, but everything's text based. It's like, dude, they have a camera,
Yeah.
they have audio, on Roll20, but he preferred to do text, and so you were just texting all of your character actions and responses and everything in the, in the text windows.
Could have just done it in Discord, period.
Well,
At that
again,
point.
I think it was. I think it was that at that time of the evening, and I think his kids were a lot younger then too. So I think it was like the kids' bedtime. So he didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
He just wanted to type.
Oh.
Um, but my games. I mean, I'm running my games from home, always on virtual. Always across the internet. And then when I go to conventions, that's my live play. Is when I go to conventions. So it's definitely it's a different experience. I don't want to I don't want to evaluate them in the form of this one's better than that. There's positives and negatives to both. Yeah. So I wouldn't discount the positives that you get from it. I've played with players from 4 different continents. Couldn't do that in a home game. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
In an in-person game.
I,
And go
I
ahead.
I will say that there's let's see, probably a sixth or an eighth of players who that just can't work for. Something about that number. I also prefer in person. I run something like 100, 150 games a year. I play in some as well. But there's a certain percentage, and I think it's about a sixth or an eighth of players in fractions anyway,
Mhm.
who really need the visual of either the face to face or like physical miniatures or a physical map in front of them
Mhm.
to help them follow what's happening.
Yeah.
To help them either pay attention could be a factor, to help them picture it visually, to help them not get distracted, whatever it might be. There's a certain chunk of players that just don't
Engagement.
handle online play well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and I personally prefer in person. When I was trying to go, the last time I finally went to college and finished my degree up, um, I I came to the conclusion that I was taking like I worked full-time job, right? I was in my 40s at that point, so
Mhm.
I was done and ready to be over with. I came to the conclusion, knowing myself and knowing what I've been through all my life and how many times I've stopped and started school, I had to have at least one class every semester that was on campus because it grounded me, you know.
Right.
And I think that may be kind of the same thing. These people need that face to face or whatever for to be grounded.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's it. Like I said, it's a very different experience.
yeah. Well,
Um,
in the way I always related it, the difference between playing online and playing in person. Playing online is like listening to an album. Listening to an album from a band.
mhm,
Um, Playing in person is like going to the concert. Okay, they're not the same experience. One is they're whole different two different vibes.
mhm.
In that doesn't make one bad
Yeah,
versus the other.
yeah, that's what I'm saying is, yeah, it's
They're just
there.
different. They're not the
Well,
same.
I think online play is bad in one specific sense, but it doesn't really apply to any of us so much because of our respective ages.
Yeah,
But online play is not a good way to learn the game, and
true.
it isn't
No,
a
right.
good way to practice good social interactions for the really younger players.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're already on their phones or whatever all day.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just once you get to our ages and everything like that, it just becomes a difference between do I play every week or do I play 4 times a year? Kind of
Yeah,
thing. In
yeah,
my situation, that's exactly what it would boil down to. Is I'm either playing every week or I'm playing in September, in April, in June, and
when you're at a con.
maybe twice in June. Yeah, only cons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's it because there's no place local where I would feel comfortable going in, and sitting down and running a table. Like if I went to
your local FLGS.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, which there are none directly near me, and the only ones that do actually exist, they're a half an hour away, which is not a terrible distance away, but everything's Magic the Gathering that's going on in there. No one's running role playing games in there.
Well,
well, I mean, you could try to run one.
Oh yeah, I could, but I'd be the 59-year-old guy, running in a sea of 15-year-olds.
Yeah,
It's just not going to happen. It's not like a whole bunch of older people are going to go there, and it's not like going to a convention, where you're pretty much in your kind of
well, it depends on the
your
convention
element.
too,
Yeah.
I
because
think I think getting making and maintaining good friendships, or even just good contacts. Like, let's say you go to a local convention, one near your area. Make a point to meet people and exchange numbers, and
Mm.
um, game with them. Arrange a time to at least try. I mean, personally, I've been very fortunate, me and my co-author, but I probably have had, between conventions and other in-person play, because I run them once or twice a week in person anyway, in addition to conventions. Plus, I run online games as well. Um, I would say, just in person, I've probably gamed with about 150 to 200 unique individuals this year so far.
Mm.
Um, and but many of those are repeats where I'm playing with them multiple times.
Right.
Right.
And that's that's something that you can kind of cultivate. Certainly if you have the time.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I've done something as silly as looking at a guy. This was years ago when I was younger, but looking at a guy on a bus, and I went, "You play D&D, don't you?" He's like, "Yeah." How did
How'd
you
you
know?
know?
I don't remember how I answered that, but then I was like, "You want to play sometime?" He's like, "Yeah." So he gave me his number, and we gamed together for I don't know, half a decade or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how I'm in Tennessee. So when I started the company that I work for now, the guy that trained me, um, I don't know. We were just, he was like, first of all, he hated training. He's like, I hate training people, which I don't. I actually like training. I didn't mind training people. It was, but I've been a seasoned IT guy, right? And he's like, thank God you know crap already, because you know how many people they've had me train that knew nothing. I'm like, yeah, not my first rodeo. But anyway, we got on the subject of tabletop somehow, and it just kind of came up. And next thing you know, he's I'm running games for him, and he introduced me to other people. And I would drive once a month, about an hour from the house, to go out to an in person game that he was at, and that these friends of his were at, and then him and his fiance wound up moving up to Knoxville. And he's still with the company, but he was working remote, right?
Hmm.
And 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 so then that's when we had to start doing this hybrid online in person thing. So I would drive over to Palm Bay over in Florida,
Hmm.
about an hour, like I said, an hour from my house, and we'd all get together there, but then we'd have him on a speakerphone, and then I had my VTT I was using just locally over, on the TV, but then I also had it set up on Discord so he could look in and so he could game, and eventually then the opportunity, thing we had a mess in Florida, so we had to get out of there. We were done and ready to move on and get out of the mess in Florida. So he's like, "Hey, man, you can come up here." And so we lived with him for like 15 months, and then he was still one of my gamers. So then the game shifted. Of course, now I'm there in person with him, and my wife, of course, played. So and then there's a group of them back in Florida that were, and whatever we could do to keep it going, we kept going for a little while, and then unfortunately he passed away, and of course things fell
Oh,
apart at that point. But yeah, he was younger than me too. He was 42, so he was not
Wow.
old. Um, but he never got to see my house. My wife and I finally moved into a house about a month before he died, and he just didn't have the opportunity to come down here. And
Yeah.
and it's like now I'm like, oh man, he was my gaming connection here. And now I'm trying to establish other people and find other people in East Tennessee that want a game. I'm like, look, man, I want to run some CNC. I want to play some Traveler. I want to do this. I want to do that, and I want to do it in person if I can.
Right.
You know. So, but somebody had the comment in there about using real dice and stuff like that. I'm an IT guy. I hate electronic dice.
Yeah.
Can't stand them. I do not allow them at my table.
I still use, yeah. I still, use, I have my dice tray here. I use my real dice.
Yeah,
Combat rolls and everything I'll do on Roll 20,
yeah,
so that they see them, so that, we do our rolling in person so they can see it. But other roles that I'm doing, like secret roles and those kinds of things, that's all on, I like my physical dice too.
yeah,
yeah. We usually when I'm running online, and I'll play online as well sometimes. I got the chance to play White Box with a basic expert last month. That was pretty fun.
Mhm.
mm,
But uh, when I'm running online, I will typically have the players use their own dice at home. I'll use mine here, and if I get suspicious about someone's results, I reserve the right to roll for them.
Yeah.
Now that's an interesting way of doing it. Yeah, because you always have that guy. Well, I mean, there's got to be there's a social contract.
Yeah.
You're sitting at a big table anyways. You
Yeah,
can't you can't read somebody's dice if they're on the opposite of the table from you as the GM. you know,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
telltale signs that they may have of the quick grab, or, oh, look, I rolled a 20 and quick grab it. You know what I mean? And it's,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I've caught two over the years. Both were in person. One was just lying about what he rolled, and the other one was using dice that are easy to manipulate with your hands, because they have all the high numbers on one side and all the low numbers on
oh,
the other.
the
Ah,
spin down dice.
The spin down dice. So
Yeah.
those got banned.
mhm.
Yeah, I had always wondered because theoretically, from a random perspective, they should all have the same chance.
Yeah, unless you are careful with your rolling at all, in which case you can guarantee you get in the top
The high,
50% of the die
ah,
every time.
good point. I didn't think about it, about particularly rolling in a particular manner so that the die doesn't really continue. It more spins than rolls.
Yeah, or it rolls and a predictable amount. Like if you
Yeah.
practice at all, I was able to, in front of him, show him how he was cheating almost immediately once it was noticed.
Ah. And most people, I don't even think, realize that there's two different types of D20s.
Yeah.
Um,
But in both cases, it was one guy we were like, look, if you're going to keep playing with us, you have to get high contrast dice.
yeah.
And the other one, it was, yeah, no, those dice are banned.
Well, and the easy way to tell the difference is the 1 and the 20 should be at opposite ends of the die.
And the same is true for all the other numbers, and all sides should add up to
Right.
the total sides of the die plus 1. So on a d6, the 6 and the 1 should be opposite, the 3 and the 4 should be opposite, and so forth.
Yeah. Whereas on a spin down die, you're going to see what the 20, the 19, 18, 17, all is going to be on the one side, right?
Yeah, all clumped up.
In the one hemisphere.
That's interesting. I've never even thought about that.
Yeah, now you're checking your dice, aren't you?
I guess you have to like specifically. Yeah, no, mine are all mixed. So, so the 20 and the 1 are on opposites. Yeah, the 20 and the 1 are on opposites.
And then
are
the
they?
19 and the 2, and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All the opposite sides should add up to 21.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then even the D100, they're mixed.
I have a D100, but
Yeah.
things about the size of a golf ball. It's a metal D100.
Yeah.
If I was to hit, I could knock somebody out. If I put that in a sock and went whack, somebody's out.
Yeah,
for
the
the night.
D100, the 90, and the 100 are on opposite sides, or the zeros. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're on opposite sides of each other. The 70 and the 20s are kind of opposite. That would mean like the 60 and the 30 are opposite.
I think that's because they're assuming the 10 is a 0.
Yeah.
And then it would be die size minus 1.
Yeah.
You've got a 0 value.
Well, the 00 is what it is 0. And if you roll,
when you're rolling the D100, you're rolling that's the 10s die.
Yeah.
When I say D100, I'm talking about
the two separate.
The 0, the 10s, the
10s.
90s, the 80s, the 70s,
Yeah.
and then you roll a second D10.
Yeah.
Along with
So
that.
on a D10 with a 0 to 9 on it, then all the sides should be adding up to 9 if 0 is 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because it has a 0. None of the other dice do.
Yeah.
I would not use my actual true D100 in a game.
Read.
It's well, no, it's not. It's that big. It's big and it's heavy. Like I said, this is a metal D100. I forget where I got it, but
So using that metric, Blackwall, what you were saying there is like when I looked at that die, so the 90 was matched up with the 0, which is 90. The 70 was matched up with the 20 on the opposite side, which is 90. So they'll all equal 90. When you add them up. Yeah. I never really thought of that. I never really thought to check and see.
I don't think they make the rest of the. It's really just the D20s that you have to really.
No,
worry about,
they make some others.
Do they?
Like that. And so it is, and some of them are actually manufacturer's errors. Some of them aren't even deliberate.
Yeah.
But if you ever notice someone rolling really weird numbers and it's not just an unbalanced die, look for that.
Yeah.
Unless it's a D30. then,
Yeah.
then you better hope it's a
Sochi
DCP
dice
game.
are kind of like the D5. It's like,
I don't even think I have a D2 on me.
I have
You
a
mean a
D2.
coin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my wife says. She's like,
Like,
"You
flip a
mean a
coin.
penny or a quarter?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Just flip a coin.
But so online, I haven't caught anyone. I've had one or two people I've gotten suspicious of and helped them roll for a little bit, and then after that, their numbers improved
Did they?
in
Amazing.
randomness. So I suspect, but I don't know.
To quote myself from earlier on Lord Mateus did a little quick stream. He said, my agency."
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah. So let's see. Dropped out of a Magic a long time ago. Played Magic for 4 people teams. Put the cards on. All right.
I never got hooked into it.
No, no. I
I,
was too old for. I was too old for the battle cards. I mean, my first introduction to the those kind of the collectible card games was I was teaching a 6th grade class that I really got along with, and they were really into Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh and
Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah,
Pokemon.
they were really into Yu-Gi-Oh. No, Pokemon was old, like too old for them.
Oh, okay.
Into Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, so they were. This was like 2000 and I want to say like 2002. Um, so anyway, they were really into it, and I was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. Well, I'm going to let you play Yu-Gi-Oh, but we're going to deal with the math that is in here, and started converting it into math lessons and everything, and seeing, and they really did pick up on it, and we were able to do it in class and run it with it. It was a small group, like an extra help group kind of thing that we had to do. And that was the only time that I really got into the cards, and just running it with those kids. But I still never really understood, the true mechanics of the game. It was just like we were just playing like war, and using those numbers, because they have like an armor class and whatnot. It's God, so many years ago. It's probably 2002. It's like going back a long time ago. But anyway, but yeah, I was never into that. I think I've told you, Death Angel, I took a huge break from tabletop gaming, from basically 1989 until 2015. All of my gaming in between there was computer gaming, console and then computer, and then
Hmm.
MMOs, really started kicked off for me in like 2000 or so,
Yeah.
like around 2000. I really got into MMOs at that point.
I resisted the MMO thing for as
Although,
long as I could.
yeah, but MMOs was like my, that's really like what I got into doing social media and running, pro boards
Yeah.
and in on some official sites. Like I was the official moderator for Bethesda Softworks for
Oh
their
wow.
Sea Dogs forums.
See, you one upped me. I was a BioWare beta tester for Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah, it's like no, that was like that.
You ran the board. You were
I
a
ran their
moderator.
I ran their board. It
Yeah.
was like holy shit. I'm like I'm actually running their thing, and then I'm like, hey. Then I started because of that connection. I started alpha testing games. So
Yeah.
I was like, and the big one there was Pirates of the Burning Sea. All right, which was Flying Labs before it became something like before they got picked up by somebody else. Flying Labs and Akela, all right, came together, and that's why I have this mug over here. Where is it? see, I was their community manager.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
All right.
Wow.
And so I was the third person in that game. So I used to say, yes, I was playing this game before it had water. All right? Because
Because it really didn't have
yeah,
water.
it was
Hadn't
sticks,
rendered it yet.
it was sticks rolling across. It was a long stick with two hash marks rolling across a grid. All
Yeah.
right. And so that was the stage that I was in. I think there was a total of 2 developers and me. All
Well,
right.
I'm sure they were checking mechanics and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, no, it was just to see that if the sticks could sail across the grid.
Yeah.
And I mean that was literally the first couple of weeks
Right.
before the sticks now became a hull. And still no water yet, but now we had hulls crossing, the thing, and then they started building, and then there was water, but it was just a blue
A blue
screen.
plane. Yeah.
And then, believe it or not, they started to institute the particle effects. The
Really,
particle effects.
before they fleshed everything out, huh?
Yeah, that's when they started to, really start to flesh the stuff out.
Mm.
That took a total of, they were fast. That took about 6 months or so, and then it was an alpha testing for a total of almost a year. And then they did about a year of beta testing, and then it launched. It launched finally, and I played it for like another 7 years after that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm kind of moved on from there. So I think I left that around 09.
And you
so.
was that all volunteer stuff, or did you actually get paid?
Oh yeah, no. The only thing I got was the game for free.
Yeah.
Basically, that was that was the thing. I never had to pay for it.
And this is back for the young kids out there. This is back in the day before game companies would release their game as a open beta.
Oh yeah, no, this was
or what pre-order, I think is what they call it now.
Yeah, they call it pre-order. No, this is before that.
Pre-order is basically open beta.
You were literally given an assignment and says, all right, this is what we want you to do. Try to break this particular system, and then tell me, us what happened. And you were truly,
they wanted reports.
You weren't just playing the game and not interacting with the developers at all. No, you were given an objective. Right. Hey, attack this particular thing this many times, whatever. We did the same thing with the Age of Conan. All right. Yeah. So I was an alpha and a beta tester for Age of Conan, and we went in there, and it was my group that discovered the flaw almost at the time of launch or just after launch. We discovered a flaw with their combat system for boss battles, that it was like, hey, if you fight, the way that their system worked was that in a boss battle, you had a series of different maneuvers that you could do, let's say 1 through 7. All right. And as a character class, I have a barbarian, right? So I can do 1 through 7. And because of the cooldown timers, as I'm hitting these things, the boss is recognizing what attacks is coming from it, and then it will start doing its defenses on those same timers. All right. So the bosses could very easily adjust to various different character classes attacking it, and it becomes a long, drawn out, very challenging thing, right? So
sure.
My group went in there with 5 barbarians. And I start going through my cycle, boom, 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 boom. It starts to begin to react. Then it gets the same attacks from the next player, and it could not deal with those cooldowns because its defenses against my attack were hitting those cooldowns, and then the next person attacking with the same attacks, it couldn't respond. And we were destroying bosses in less than a minute. It was like once we all went through our cycle, boom, boss is dead.
Oh, sure, because you
And we're like,
basically were hitting it in sequence so that it never got the chance to act.
right. It could never it could never keep up its defenses and its cooldowns to defend against the same attack that goes through that same cycle over and over and over again. And all of a sudden, it's like with the like maybe the second patch, they realized that, hey, I'm going to have to. What they did was they wouldn't let you go because these are closed off, caverns, let's say, and they limited the number. You had to have a different class going in. Every party had to have 5 different classes going in, and so that's what they did. They kept those going into the system. Yeah, that's the big D100. Yeah.
By comparison, this is a regular D20.
Yeah.
And this thing is metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if I put this in a sock and hit somebody up the head with it, it would knock them out. I mean, it's it's not light.
Yeah, put them in. Hey, Paul, by the way, we're playing this Thursday if you're going to be there. Hopefully you're there this Thursday at 9 o'clock. We're playing Gangbusters.
And this will roll off of a table.
Yeah.
And put a hole in the
so
floor.
let's see.
Yeah. Now, one cool thing that going to conventions has let Nate and I do is we've been able to start buying miniatures directly, pre-painted miniatures in particular, directly from manufacturers, and then we've been selling them at conventions. We've started selling them a little bit through our website, just in groups of like 10 or 12. But that's been a really cool thing because we've learned that people like miniatures. They will come over to your table and buy stuff or talk with you just because the miniatures are present.
Right.
Yeah. I do that with dice.
Dice don't work as well. We experimented with that. Why? I don't know.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike. And happy to be back too. I came back to tabletop role playing in 2015. I was just like, what burned me out was Pathfinder Online.
Oh,
I was like, that game, beta testing that game, or even alpha testing that game. I was like, this is pure garbage. I was like, no, I'm done with this. And dealing directly with, I mean, like indirectly, but having direct conversations with Ryan Dancy was like, this guy, he might be a marketing whatever, I don't want to say a genius, but but he had no idea. He had a dislike for massively multiplayer online games, especially ones that had player versus player.
so
and
he didn't like what they were making.
Yeah, he did not like what he was making, and he wanted to say that it had PvP, but he wanted to so cripple using PvP in the game that you would never want to do it. All right, and it came from his distaste from working with CCP and doing EVE Online, because that's where he originally came out of. Yeah. And anything about Ryan Dancy's like kind of like somewhat nefarious history, was that he was one of the devs that got fired from EVE Online for cheating, for giving out code to certain factions in the gaming community so that they could win these big battles and everything.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was part of the Band of Brothers Goon Swarm debacle that almost killed the game. Because it was a player-generated economy for that game. They literally had an economist doing the economy of the game, and a couple of devs, including him, basically released information, released codes to, I believe it was Band of Brothers, that allowed them to automatically win battles and then gain these resources, which were very rare resources. And the thing was that some people had, because you're paying for your accounts, right? So people
Sure.
had these ships that were, that cost money, to actually, have and maintain, and they, cost money to have and through time, time expenditure for skill points and whatnot. And yeah, if your characters died without having a clone, you lost experience points. Think of like level drain in AD&D, but you actually paid for those levels, So it was like it was a big deal. And so it was just a debacle. It almost killed the game, for them. And so when he came to running Goblin Works and Pathfinder Pathfinder Online, it was like, everything you're doing is not what PvP is. It's like you're just trying to make it sound like there's player versus player, but you're going to hurt those that actually participate in it. And it's like, it's the what was it called, the River Kingdoms. I was like, the code of the River Kingdoms is, you have what you hold. What you can steal becomes rightfully yours according to the code and the lore of Pathfinder, and of those places. So it was just a debacle, and it was like, oh, we're in the River Kingdoms and there's no water running in the rivers. After launch, there was still no water in the rivers. They hadn't gotten to that point of finishing the game before they launched it. It was a disaster. I was so thankful I got some poor sucker to buy my account for $400, because that's what the account cost me. I did the Kickstarter for that was like $400. I was all in, at $400, and I was able to sell it for what I bought it for. I was like,
you got out clean.
Yeah, I walked away clean after about 2.5 years of gameplay, and I walked away clean. And I turned that $400 right into Modiphius's Conan 2D20.
Well, and wasn't he the one that he was the reason why the OGL came out? Wasn't it?
He created the OGL.
Yeah. So
And he created the OGL as a marketing tool,
right,
because they knew that people would, they could get money from third party, creativity. It would give a breath of life to 3.0 by creating that, because
right.
3.0 was going to collapse.
Yeah, it only lasted 3 years before.
Yeah, but before they came out with 3.5, and that only lasted for a couple years before they came out with 4. That only lasted a couple years before they came out with.
Well, 4. I don't know.
years.
I was gonna say we played 3.5 all the way up until 4th edition came out, and then we tried a half a session of 4E.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I were like, okay, we're just done gaming for a while. We did a sabbatical like you went on. We're just like,
yeah.
I had a lot of friends that went over to Pathfinder, now Pathfinder 1, if you want to call it that. But hey, Chubby, what's up?
How's it going, Chubby?
We got a celebrity in our midst here. I don't know. Did you see Chubby? I was showing this off here. I told you it was coming. Look. I got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We were talking about Shadow City earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. And Shadowrim as well. So, yep, we'll give you several honorable mentions.
Oh yeah,
for
definitely.
your games. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the crossover, I guess, between MMOs and tabletop role-playing games have not been as smooth as
It,
as they could have been or should have
it doesn't work that way.
been. Yeah.
They've tried to make it a one-to-one crossover, like you can cross over easily from tabletop over to a video game or from
Mhm.
video game to tabletop. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's a trickle down. You have the
Yeah.
tabletop at the top,
Yeah.
and what people do in that works, you take those ideas and throw that into tabletop or into a video game. And what there's not everything will translate from a tabletop game over.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that, it's a
Now,
trickle down.
now I will say that Chubby's translation of Skyrim to tabletop actually works really well. I mean, that
Yeah,
that actually works pretty darn well. But that's not an
but that's the
MMO.
setting. That's
That's
the
not an
setting.
MMO. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but he managed to get the mechanics of the game matching up with the video game, the mechanics
Yeah.
or the computer game, I should. The mechanics of Skyrim are replicated pretty well with what you can do in a tabletop role playing
Hey,
game, especially
hey,
like leveling
hey,
up your characters and gaining new levels, the ability to select um, from different skill sets.
yeah.
Going across is also built into the system as well with an additional expenditure of experience points. You can go outside of your birthmark, kind of your astrological marking, and go there as well. So it does work. It works
Yeah.
pretty darn well.
Hey,
Um,
you wanna drop the link again? Chubby might wanna jump in here, defend his
uh,
honor.
yeah, if you want to jump in there, Chubby, there you go. And
Greg's a great guy.
um, like Fallout works pretty well too. Like I have the Fallout RPG from Modifius, and that works. That works pretty well. It matches the game.
I've played it once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah, it matches the game pretty darn well. So they did a good job in translating the two.
Have you tried the Blade Runner one?
Oh yeah, Blade Runner but Blade Runner wasn't an MMO. It
It was a
wasn't
movie.
a video game.
It was a book before it was a movie, then it was right?
Yeah.
Book, movie, and RPG. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was curious because at the same event where I played Fallout, that is the same event where I tried Blade Runner, the RPG, for like the second time.
Yeah.
And
Blade Runner, the RPG, the thing with the Blade Runner, the way that it's written is that it's only built for 4 players. It does not work with less than 4 players or more than 4 players. And it really is stuck with you have
Those
to
are
use those
pre-gens.
pre-gens.
Yeah.
You have to use those pre-gens.
I've heard that on a couple of different
Yeah.
streams I've seen about it.
It works phenomenally well. I mean, even with those pre-gens. Hey, Chubby, how's it going?
How's it going?
With those pre-gens, you can have a different outcome with a different group of players every single time. You know what I'm saying? But it really does depend on those pre-gens bringing those particular skills to the table.
I did play it 5 and 6 player respectively, and I think I played maybe a third session, but 5 and 6 player, and they used the character creation rules in the book for the 5th and 6th character, and it was fine. But all the pre-gens were also used.
Yeah.
So you weren't like missing skills.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like if you were missing skills, you won't be able to do it. It's like
you got to cover your bases so that you have a party of specific.
It's like running Star Frontiers. Like recently, when I ran Star Frontiers a couple years ago, but recently when I ran Star Frontiers, and I had a group of players, and what they didn't have the tech skills. I was like, there's nothing for them to do here. They can't complete this adventure unless you had like each one of those things. You needed somebody with robotics, with medical, with tech, with computer hacking. I was like, without every one of those bases touched, the adventure falls apart. You just can't get past any of those things, and so it's like certain systems you can only run them one way. I'll let Chubby jump in here.
Hey guys,
Your honor. Actually, you don't have to defend your honor. I think we're all
yeah, I was just running you guys in the background, setting up a VTT for tomorrow night. I'm running Scarlet Minotaur.
Sweet.
So
cool.
It's gonna be good.
Is that the one with the Erudite and all those guys?
Yeah, with Erudite.
Yeah. I watched several of them. You guys have a blast on that.
Yeah, it was good. I got to see Tim Shorts running for his life in the end of the last one, where he was the only guy who survived this battle, and he picked up a shield that had light cast on it, but it was going to run out in like 20-25 minutes. And that was he had no torches, he had nothing, and he didn't know where the exit for the dungeon was. He couldn't remember. So he started running in circles, and I was like, okay, you're coming back through the same room you were in a minute ago. And he's like, I can't remember where I am. And he ended up getting eaten by ghouls.
You're gonna have Crispy go back and that was a trip.
I
loved
a lot
that.
of Crispy's stuff. It just conflicts with speed. Like he had a lot of comments that were like,
yeah.
For instance, there was this moment where Tim, and I played with Tim a lot. Tim took his torch and he goes, I'm going to kind of throw the torch into this spiderweb situation. And I kind of just said, look, you can't, it's not just going to ignite like a web spell or something, right? You have to actually like walk. Yes. And I was like, you could clear like 10 feet per movement, whatever. Like you could do it. And Crispy was like, well, you should have just let him just throw the torch into the spiderwebs and nothing happened. And I was like, but I'm running a live stream. Like that's gonna slow some shit down, Like I was like, I want to keep it snappy, So I just went immediately into explaining it to him. So it's not that I disagree with anything that he said. It was just, I think running a live stream is very difficult to make it entertaining to people to watch. And you got to make sure you got to do certain things differently.
And Crispy's very big on the 4D thing too, and not everybody.
And he's a great role player too. I mean, he's really good.
So
I've played with him. Even though our DM was a bit of an ass, but I actually got kicked from.
Aren't we all? No.
Because it's just but he's a really good role player. And he does have that 4D, role play down really well. But I could see where that doesn't lead to a very fast-paced gameplay.
Right. Well, like I'm running OSE every Saturday night now, and I'm running Gods of the Forbidden North. Now, right now, some of them are really close to 4th level, but there's like a mix because a lot of them have died. And they have so many leads. They have like over 20 leads of things to do. And we get to the end of the session and it's like, okay, you guys need to figure out what you're going to do next. And then they'll spend days arguing about what to do, whatever. Like that doesn't make for great video.
No,
that's not, having one guy go, well, I think we should go to the Barrow Mound because the Taff and Larry guy said he was going to go out there and this thing happened. And then somebody else is like, well, I think we should go down into this mine because we never finished clearing level 2. And then the other guy, like, that's just not fun. Like, it's not fun to watch. It's great to be in that situation where you have that level of agency. Yeah. It's just not entertaining. I think Shadow Dark and games that have that like quick resolution have the best potential for keeping people's attention. Or games where it's got like a horror element or a shock element that can come out and really surprise people, right? So like if you're running Alien and then all of a sudden the GM's like, medical frigate tries to take off and gets cut in half and crashes down onto the colony, and Weyland-Yutani ships come over and drop black goo on your whole place. Like, everybody's turning into freaking mutations. Like, that is good TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's good. That's good. But if you spend an hour arguing about whether you should go to this location or that location next, that's not good.
I mean, that may be, I wonder if basically a blend between the two is probably the best. You know what I mean? Don't be so hard, strict on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to emulate it in the description and stuff like that. I know he was like, no, stop talking, Chubby. And it's like, no, he's doing all right. I'm like, I don't think anybody did that bad, but it was a constructive thing. I thought it was, I found it interesting. Kudos to you, man.
And I'm always open to people's critiques. I went through about like 5 to 10 years arguing about religion. Then I went into political science, and I argued about politics all the way through grad school. I have a specialization in political economy. You cannot upset me about arguing about a point. It will never happen.
You're just not a lawyer.
You will get upset with me when I'm responding emotionlessly to your emphatic pleadings, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. That will upset you, but I will be fine. Nobody ever hurt my feelings on this.
Well, your live plays were never critiqued by Shawner. Rest in his soul. That was a fear. It was like, oh shit. He's like, when he started critiquing mine, and it was like, dude, that was like 8 years ago. That was like when I first started doing this shit, and it was just me and one player too. I was like, take it easy there.
You know what he'd be saying about your background there? He'd be talking about the lighting in the background.
Yeah. Well, no, you couldn't have blue light or purple lighting behind.
Yeah.
The bisexual lighting.
Bisexual lighting. Yep.
Wow.
You have a bisexual background there. No.
Well, I can switch it up to
No, I think that's great. I'm just saying that, Shawner, that was one of the things I caught him saying a lot.
There you go. That's better.
So I think when you're doing online play, keeping things moving is good. The DM can do that to some extent by not having long lulls in the session, depending on the style of game. But really, in those kinds of games, the onus is also on the players to not, how can I phrase this, to role play with a different goal in mind, which is to continue the game,
right?
Rather than to role play whatever random thing they imagine their character might do. That actually it is better if you are streaming for other people to watch or recording it for other people to watch, for the player not to do the thing they might think their character would do if it would slow down the game.
Yep.
Well, that's why it's almost why when I look at a critical role, and you're sitting there, and I was like, well, this is for show. This is not how they would really play the game. And so to me, it's like, I'm not going to get as much out of it watching someone who's playing to the camera rather than playing and adhering to the game rules to see how do you actually play this game. How are these characters actually done? And there's certainly a place for both, but I'd rather watch someone to learn rules mechanics, watch someone doing a solo play of a game system. And there used to be this guy, a YouTube channel, Artichoke Dip. I don't know if he's still around or not, but he used to do incredible solo plays, and you would learn the game system by just watching how he was doing solo. And he used to convert all kinds of systems to solo play. It wasn't just, specifically. He was like, hey, I'm going to run, 5e today solo, and then do the whole thing, I guess, with Game Master emulators and those kinds of things. But
I agree with what Todd just said. Like, I actually get when I'm a player on a live stream, I get pushback from the other players because I'm so reckless and aggressive in moving the thing forward that they're almost like you're trying to get us killed. Like I'll throw things open. I'll drop things that are noisy. I'll say if there's anything there, it'll come out when I throw this noisy thing down. And they're like, stop, don't do that. You know, and I'm like, no, I don't care. Boom. If I die, I die. It's no big deal. And I'll kick open the door. I'll shove things over. Yeah, it doesn't matter because the goal is to be entertaining and move things forward. You don't want to have your whole party taking 10 minutes to open a door to make absolutely sure you don't get hit by the trap, right? Like, I just don't care. I'll just throw open the door. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to tell my players, you know, my 1E players, when we were into, you know, we were probably in about like a 4th week or so that we were together, and they were all new group. They were with me for about 4 weeks, and I noticed that they were, you know, like you said, like opening a door, and they were so cautious. I was like, listen, and this not being broadcast or anything like that. We were just playing the game, and I was like, listen, I will never punish you for being bold. You know, you're going to stand there for 10 minutes debating on how you're going to, you know, go into the room. You know, there's wandering monsters that are going to happen because you're dilly-dallying. Go in, you know, and, you know, at the one point they were out there and they were talking, you know, between their characters. They're playing their characters, and as soon as the first 2 went in, all right, an ogre on the other side slammed the door, threw the bolt, and now 2 of them were trapped in there. You know, and it was like, well, you're screwing around outside that door, you know, and then you know,
I've had players take 10 minutes to get a gem out of a bucket of water because they were convinced it was acid or something to trick them to stick their hand into the water to get the gem. You know, like you can be so cautious that you're just hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, then why didn't one of them, like, I don't know, drop literally anything in the bucket to see if it was acidic?
Yeah.
They did, and nothing happened.
Oh, then you just grab the gem. Come on.
I know. It was fixed in place so they couldn't tilt it over.
Right.
So they were like, does anybody have anything we could stick in there as a tool? They started trying to like use like fishing line or something. I'm like, guys, it's just a freaking gem. Like, am I gonna have to just break the GM wall and just tell you, just grab the damn gemstone?
Have you considered that you may have hit them with too many traps leading up to that?
No, this was in like the second room. I hadn't had any traps at all.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
They were just, I mean, terrorized by prior experiences, I guess. I don't know. They were all old school guys. Like,
Yeah.
Tomb of Horrors, I guess I can blame for this.
I don't know. I had a party beat that the first try.
I was
Now, to
a
be
total
fair,
party wipe the first
I hear
try.
all kinds of weird stories, Todd, now that I'm putting up these dungeon analysis videos.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'll put up a dungeon and I'll be like, I don't see how anybody could come in here and survive because, like, just statistically, you're going to die in this particular situation.
Yeah.
And people will post like, well, I walked in and I rolled 4 nat 20s in a row. I'm like, well, shit, that doesn't mean it's good. You know, like, doesn't mean it's well designed. Like, oh my God, I was able to do it. Like, okay.
To be fair, though, my party didn't use any of the entrances.
Oh.
They actually broke in the side.
Oh. Cool. Yeah,
They were very paranoid.
You know, I've got, so my gamers were, you know, when I was running regularly, they were all seasoned players, and so it's like, you know, they're doing the 10-foot pole, tap 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 every step, you know.
Oh yeah.
And of course they were also using, you know, in 5th edition, you know, they had, you know, the automatic perception check, and it's like,
Oh.
I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah,
It's
It
like
is annoying.
brutal.
it's like let's put the game on easy mode, guys.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. It's D&D on training wheels.
Yeah. And it makes it real tough too, when you've got seasoned players and the rule set that isn't conducive towards seasoned players. I mean, they took down a young adult dragon in like minutes. It's like, oh. And at that point, I had to start making changes, and then they complained. They're like, "Well, the HP should be blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Who's the DM?" It's like, um, well, actually,
Yeah.
you know,
I just changed that.
yeah, yeah, rule 0, dude.
In that system, I never ran 5e. I only played it about half a dozen times or so, and only twice did the DM actually get rid of all those, crutches, crutches,
Yeah,
and safeties, and all that kind of thing. And but if I ever ran that system, I would just give every monster max hit points. You
well,
know,
that's what I did, and
yeah,
they were complaining about that. And I'm like, look, you know, you guys are not new to tabletop.
yeah,
Most of you have been gaming at least since third edition. Some of you longer. You know, I mean, your bard is finding every trap. Come on,
yeah,
dude. You're not even a specialist in that, and you're spotting traps and hidden doors and everything. Just because of passive perception and was it passive perception and what's the other passive one? Passive. I forget. At any rate,
Listen,
yeah, well, and that was, and I used to be. That's one of the things that I liked originally about third edition or 3.5. I liked the delineation of spot and listen
mhm,
versus hide and move silently. In my when fifth edition just kind of moved everything into perception and stealth. It's like, no, they're not the same. You can't
right,
just because you can be quiet doesn't mean that you're going to be hidden, and just because you can hide doesn't mean you're going to be able to be quiet. They're two different things.
right.
Sure.
But but now I've kind of switched to the other end of that and go, and that's why I like CNC. And that's kind of one of the things I like, just reading on Shadow Dark. I haven't got to play it yet, but it is.
you
But
haven't gotten to play it.
I have not.
When are you available to play?
I'm running it tomorrow night.
I know Erudites reached out to me, and I'm like, I'll have to see if I can create a roll 20.
When can you play? Let me know
Yeah,
when
I
you can
mean,
play. I'm looking to play test. I'm looking
Are
to
you?
test an adventure
Yeah.
for Shadow Dark. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm willing. I'm willing. Yeah, I'm
yeah. You
willing.
tell me when you can play. I've been looking to run this thing Saturday nights, or what? You tell me when.
Wednesday is my bad day because I've got a net.
I'm free Thursdays and Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, Thursdays
Yeah.
and Fridays all freaking day. I don't
Oh
work
yeah.
those 2 days.
Yeah, I'm off every Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
Occasionally,
so
like
if
once a month, I have something on a Saturday.
And
Of
then
course, this week I have the Portal to Adventure guys um, on on Thursday night, and then on Saturday we're doing the stream with Bad Mike and Griff and all that, talking about the cons. The rise of the mini con is what I'm kind of envisioning this as, but
and
but but
Chubby, what time
normally
do you run yours on Sunday on Monday?
yeah. Well, they already had a game on Monday nights, and I had talked to Erudite a while ago about like that. I long term was looking to kind of set up something where I was doing a live stream to kind of play test stuff in public, and I have so many things going on at once. Every time he was like, "Are you want to do that?" I'm like, I'm not ready yet. I got this, I got that, whatever. And then he wanted to run his own. He's been making these little zines for Shadow Dark, and one of them has like you go into a sapper tunnel and you get into the enemy base, and it's kind of like an infiltration mission. And he was like, "Hey, have you?" He'd given me the PDF of it to look at and give him feedback on. He was like, "Have you? Do you remember this dungeon?" I'm like, I don't remember. He was like, "Okay, well, you we need another player. We got somebody who's going to be out." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll play." And he was like, "You can pick anything." And it's a very strong religious theme. And I had the new paladin class from the Western Reaches Kickstarter. So I rolled up a paladin, and I rolled as a human. So I got 2 talent rolls. Both of them landed on the presence thing. So anybody within near distance of me who died only had to get a 16 or better to come back every round. Like, it was crazy. So I was like, okay. So like I was just role playing this guy like a bat out of hell, reckless guy. He would throw open every door and just run right into battle, like just start hacking away. I mean, like he was the most aggressive fucker. And and so we went through this whole thing in like record time. I felt like there was no delays. I just hacked my way through. And then I had just finished redoing this right on this side of me, the Sunless Fane. I had converted this. It was like a 1-page dungeon I had done at one point. Right when Shadow Dark was going crazy, I converted it over just to have a simple, like, it's not a great dungeon. I was like, it's whatever. And then it's been 2 years, and I was like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to use everything I've been learning for the past 2 years about Shadow Dark and like go back and really make it into a Shadow Dark-y dungeon,
Right.
And so I had just finished and republished and re-released everything, and I was like, all right, it's always good to start your product out with 200 sales in the bag when you launch it. So I just updated the PDF and then kind of repitched it to people. And he was like, why don't you run that next? And then that's how he starts sucking me in, he started pulling me in. Good. So now I'm running Scarlet Minotaur for him.
Well, there you go.
Well,
but
if you get the
they've
chance,
really enjoyed having the always on initiative and just going crazy. And I came up with this house rule of rolling initiative. It sounds so weird when I say it. Rolling it at the end of combat, right? So you get through a combat, you're kind of like you're going over the bodies and everything's like re-roll initiative, and then people start spreading out into the dungeon. You can watch this happen in the live play, and they start spreading out, and then they encounter something, and because we're on the clockwise rotation from Shadow Dark, whatever they encounter immediately already has a place in the initiative order with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the initiative order every time, even if I don't take an action, right? So then the monster, when the monster comes up, it comes up. So it's like this perfect flow into the combat. And then when they kill that thing, or whatever, resolve it, then we roll initiative again.
Is this group
really well?
Is it group initiative?
No, it's well, whoever rolls the highest goes first, and then it's a clockwise rotation.
Okay.
So it's kind of the biggest advantage is just the time savings. I don't have to track anything. I just whoever wins, I go you, and then we just go down the line. Boop, 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 boop. I never have to remember anybody's initiative number.
Yeah, no, we do that. We do that in Horde Wars too. I did want to mention, Greg, if you get the chance in the next 6 months, I would love to give Shadow City a try with you. If not, at least North Texas. But if you're going to run a game, please let me know.
Yeah.
Well,
same here. If any of you guys want to jump in on my on my playtest of that Shadow Dark adventure, just let me know.
Cool.
And love to have you guys in. You tell me when you're free. Like I said, I'm free. I'm free weekends. You know, the only thing I do on Sundays is like from 7 to whenever I'm doing this. You know, but yeah, if you guys wanted to jump in and do it, just let me know.
I'll PM you about that, Todd.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, man, Chubby or Richard, whatever. Yeah, I'm Sundays is usually my one day. I'm trying to get
Yeah.
in-person games going,
Yeah.
but until that, I don't have anything confirmed on the.
Yeah,
on
Mike,
the
you
plan.
can reach out to me and it's open. It's an open game on Roll20. Let me pull up that and let me put the link in there.
And I'm usually free after 8 Eastern, anyways, because I work 11 to 8. So
Yeah, so let me see. Invite players.
I can sometimes get out a little early. I work remote, so.
Yeah. So this is the
You can
roll.
just be sick.
yeah. I'm sure the other 3 people on my team.
So this is the Roll20 link. Wait, it didn't go in. Control V. No, it didn't copy.
Is it not copy and pasting into the?
It didn't. Let's do invite players. Let copy link. Let me copy the link this way. Let me do that. And now try it. There it goes. So that's the Roll20 link for that Shadow Dark game, and then we'll see when we can run it. Saturday night works for me. Hey, Steve, how's it going? But yeah, originally that adventure is one that I had written years ago for D&D Back Me, so basic. So it was designed for first level characters, first and second level characters or so. What I'm doing with this particular play test is that you're going to start off as first level characters, but you have almost enough experience to make it second level. That way, after you do a couple of the lead-in adventures and one carousal, you should be second level, and that way it's meant for a campaign, not a campaign, a convention game.
Mm-hmm.
That way, new players will get the experience of, leveling up their characters, and going through that process, and then the main adventure takes place from that point there. So. But yeah, I'd love to have any of you guys, whether it's people in the chat or the 3 of you, to jump in on that if you're free. Looks like it's going to probably be Saturdays.
Yeah, now this Saturday, like I said, I've got.
Yeah, but no, probably not this Saturday.
Well, it says next game is November 1st. And I'm like,
Yeah,
nope, that's the day we're doing that thing.
Yeah.
So.
It is kind of a Halloween themed adventure too. So it's it takes place in a crypt, so that's that. It's very Halloweeny.
Are you doing pre-gens? You want us to roll up something, or how do you do
there's
that?
slots for you to roll up something, and there's also pre-gens. So I'll use the pre-gens for convention play, and you can roll up your characters. I won't have you doing the critical role rolling up characters of, what is it, 5d6 drop to lowest 2? I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Wow.
That is nuts.
I was like, and one of them ended up, I was having this conversation with somebody, on YouTube, and I was like, dude, there's no way. Because one of the characters has a 3 strength, and he says, I guess they just, when they drop the lowest 2, I was like, no. I was like, they had to roll 5 1s in order to end up with a 3. There's no way.
Yeah.
I know they're not doing racial modifiers, because unless maybe they were, I have no idea. But I was like, there's no way that these rolls are real rolls.
We
you guys
always
watched the Glass Cannon session 0 that was a few days ago.
I have not seen that one yet. It's coming up in my feed.
Kelsey has like a thing on her Discord to set up like a watch party for their first session, but they did a level 0 a few days ago.
Yeah.
I think the first session is going to be the 30th or something. I don't know. They had 1,000 live viewers, so it was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I showed up just to drop a few comments in the chat, maybe get some conversations with people, but they spent a huge amount of time debating what house rule variants they were going to include, and all of them were softening it up to make it less likely that they would fail anything. You can fail your first spell cast of the day, you don't lose the spell, it doesn't happen, but you just still don't lose it. And they were just going back and forth, and you could tell from their conversations that they were all concerned about actually getting hit by the system in some way.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my god, play this is the point of playing it is to play it.
Yeah.
I don't why would I would never be like, hey, we're gonna try this game. Here's my 12 house rules we're gonna run. Run it as written, the way it's supposed to be. I don't understand.
The only house rule that they should do, and I don't know if it is actually, I got the book right there, I should look at it, is first level hit points are maximum. That's it.
They did that. Yeah, they did that.
That's the only thing you should do. If you're looking to demonstrate your system, that is the only house rule that you should do, is just say, I'm going to have everybody start off with maximum hit points at first level. Done.
My favorite personal story with Shadow Dart is that I rolled up a level 1 thief. I just clicked on it off of Shadow Darkling's the website. I just said, give me a thief. It gave me a thief 1 hit point.
Yeah.
He was the only one to survive a near TPK.
Yeah.
And he made it back to town with enough stuff to carouse his way to level 2. Right. Then he recruited new people. They went out. Everybody died except him again. Mm-hmm. He was the only one to come back to town with all the stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's starting to get suspicious.
He's going to get a reputation.
Yeah, I was like, this is not good. But he was like a skirmisher. So he was just fall back and shoot.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody else got killed. Yeah. And the second time, he couldn't even recover a lot of the stuff because they didn't kill enough of the monsters.
Right.
For him to get. It's like the first time, he at least was able to eventually sniper kill the monster that was there, and then go back and get the stuff. But that guy ended up getting up to level 4. We kind of ended the campaign on a high note of killing this particular bad guy. Mm-hmm. It was great. So when people were like, "Oh, I don't want to start with 1 hit point," I'm like, "Well, then you will never have an epic story about how you started with 1 hit point. That's all you're robbing yourself of.
Yeah,
that's all it is."
Hey, I've got that. I played with Chuck from Trollord in his Patreon game, the first one that he's done. He hasn't done one yet since, but he says it's coming. Bluddworth.
I know. I gotta jump in on that and get in on that.
But I'm like, I'll play a wizard, and I found one of the pre-gens wizards, and of course we were first level, and I had 4 hit points. I was the weakest character, and I was also the last to die. I was like, woo! I survived up until the very end. And everyone that was playing. I mean, it was like Agile Monk was in there, and myself, and a couple other folks. And we're all like longtime DMs. Some of them many years longer than me. So we all kind of went in there with an attitude. We knew we were going to die. We kind of just figured it. Plus,
sure.
Chuck's got a reputation now.
I missed out on playing with Todd when I was at North Texas because when I first loaded up the thing to get into games, there weren't any of his games were loaded or whatever, and there were a bunch of games that were like with people that I wanted to make sure I got into their game to play with them at least once, like Greg Gillespie, people like that, the guys from Black Lodge Games and so on. So I got in those games, and then we never ended up getting able to play Horde Wars. So it's going to be something I make sure we do this year. But I would never like turn away the opportunity to have Todd kill me in the game. Like that would be great. That would be an ideal outcome.
Yeah,
I have no problem. I'm not going to be running around going, "Oh, I gotta head over here now." I'll walk right into the fire and let Todd cut me down, and then that'll be the story.
It was a
Remember that
blast.
time you blew me up with the homing missile or whatever it was, whatever it is. We're doing is it Dropship is the name of the sci-fi one, right?
Dropship. Yep.
Yeah. If I get blown up by a robot or whatever, I don't care. Alien.
Yeah.
Then that'll be the story.
Yep.
Remember that time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that time I hid in the building and did nothing the whole game so you couldn't kill me, Todd? Yeah, that's not the story I'm going to tell.
That's not as fun. But if you look, I don't know if they're still up or not, but we did a number of online games with people when Basic was out and Advanced was in production. And anyway, that was pretty fun. And but I did 2 TPKs as part of the advertising for that. There were also several successes, and one of those TPKs was an almost, because while no one made it out of the room with the monster, one of the guys had missed that session, so he was back at town to realize that the others weren't coming back, and so he recruited a revenge party.
He's the survivor.
Yep. And they pulled it off the second time, and it went super smooth, and the players were like, "Oh, I guess that was fair then." I'm like, "Yep, you guys just lost."
Yeah.
When Chubby was talking about his paladin, it reminded me of my players in the 1E campaign, where they had a paladin in the group, and they were doing the dungeon in B1, right? So he had gotten teleported into that spider cave, and he got, he was poisoned. He was paralyzed, and the way the players found him was they did a detect good, alignment, so that's how they found him, right? They found him.
That's awesome.
So he was paralyzed. They take him, and paladins, first edition paladins, just being in their mere presence, you gain the pluses to your saving throws. So they're like, well, he was like too heavy, because he was like their main fighter. He was too heavy for them to carry and everything. So they're like, well, maybe if we cut off his toe. And he was like, I'm not a goddamn rabbit foot. He said, because they thought that they could just carry a piece of him with them throughout the rest of the thing.
No.
Wow. Like, I'm not a goddamn
They cut off his arm or something?
No, they were going to cut off his toe.
Oh, take
and just carry it. Was like, I'm not a damn.
He's a rabbit.
Yeah. It was like,
I've got my paladin's toe on my keychain.
They remembered that the kobolds in this place was rolling around the wheelbarrow with all the refuse that they were dumping into the green slime pit as their garbage disposal. So they went back, they got this wheelbarrow, they threw the paladin in the wheelbarrow, and then for the rest of the next 2 sessions, they were running around with the paladin in a wheelbarrow just so that they could get his saving throw modifier. It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. That would have been the only thing noteworthy of most of our adventures that would have played really well on a live play, just for the entertainment of that. But it's just you have such good times with players, even, and again, that's online play, so that's not in-person play. And it's just, you have such good times when you have players that just think outside that box, and they take their characters very seriously, and they utilize, like I said, that detect good was
that's inspired.
Really good.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna hunt my friend with detect good. Yeah.
Oh, so it was a great session. It was one of my most memorable sessions, just because of that interaction and everything. And
Well,
and
that's
it's great. It's great that you like you were saying, you don't have those heroic things without, playing that character that is that is disabled for whatever reason, or
right.
having that character with one hit point or whatnot, and just surviving what you really couldn't anticipate them, figuring out a way to get through it and everything. So
Yeah.
but there
Yeah, and that's the type of stuff that you don't get in in a video from a video game.
No.
Unless it's coded in there, which and you're
Yeah.
probably not going to get that from an AI generated anything either. So an AI DM probably would be confused why you were trying to do that.
But to me, the biggest revelation from I've been doing I've done it's going to be 3-part video. 2 of them are out on Destroyer of Worlds, which is a module for Alien.
Mhm.
And the reason why I picked it is because it is incredible. It's it's genius level. It's in top 5 modules of all time I've ever read. Like, just masterful design. The ideas are incredible. But you have to be at an expert level of being a GM in order to run this, because there are so many moving parts, so many things for you to have at the top of your mind at any moment in the way that you're going through it. And it's extremely demanding. And my biggest criticism of the module is that the organization could be improved to make that easier to handle. Right.
right.
But going through it, like, the revelation as I've been doing this is, this is what the AI will not be able to do. The AI will be able to say, you're in a room and there's kobolds and there's a lock on the treasure chest, and it can do that shit. That's okay, it can do that. But what it can't do is have dramatic timing to have to have the story evolve in a way that the players never expect or see coming out. Things happening that it's just mind-blowing events that unfold, and it's just not gonna. It can't do that. The best it can do is create a genericized experience. That's all. And the whole doing all of these videos, doing a close reading of the text has made me realize how much people pontificate on shit that they haven't even read, that they don't know anything about.
Right.
They're offering their opinion on a module that's 80 pages, and they've read half of a page out of that, and they're going to tell you what their opinion is on it and whether or not you should buy this module or whatever. And I started down this road because of Gods of the Forbidden North. I was like, this is such an incredibly great thing, and none of the reviews for it are made by people who've read it or played it. They're all read by people who've just leafed through it.
Yeah.
And so I did the first video I did that wasn't like, here's a demo of me doing my own thing as a solo play, or here's this, whatever. Like, the first kind of like outwardly focused video was about that, because I really think there's a hunger for that in the community.
Well, if you want a review, you just tell me where to put it. I have, for Shadow City anyway, I read it, as I mentioned to you, cover to cover within the week I got it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I haven't played it yet. I'd like to do that with you, but reading it, sure. So if there's a good spot to leave a review, you let me know.
Unfortunately, neither of us can make reviews of each other's stuff on drive-through.
Yeah,
which
you
is
can't
where
yeah. You
publishers can't do that. Can't
Yeah.
review another publisher.
That's right. Yeah.
Although I could create fun chubs, and he could leave reviews somewhere.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You can do comments though.
You can do comments. That's true.
You can do a comment and put in parentheses review, from a fellow publisher, and then do your thing in there.
That's and that's kind of odd, right? I get probably why they're trying to avoid that, But if you look at like professional journals and and stuff like that, I mean that's kind of like the
Well,
Journal of American Medicine. That's the whole point is peer review.
yeah, but that's also a flawed system too. You get circle jerks. You get everybody
Yeah,
else,
you do.
like,
No, that's
it's
true. It's true.
it's like that's the problem with peer review, is that they're all a part of the same. No one's going to step on anybody's toes very drastically, and so you don't get a very good,
Yeah.
end result.
Good point.
There's
Yeah.
actually the Freakonomics guys. One of the things they studied was the sumo wrestling cheating. And the thing that they found was that in the way that the sumo wrestling tournaments were set up, if you got a certain number of victories, getting additional victories didn't help your chances of getting included in the next advancement tier or whatever.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
once a guy got to that level, he would basically start selling his matches to people because it didn't matter to him anymore whether he won or lost.
Right.
And they were able to track that the cheating. So like, I wish I could say I would trust RPG publishers to not do it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. You see those clicks that just keep on feeding into each other and everything. There's, you'll never get a harsh review from one
There's
to the
also
other.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
People won't.
You-
Like, I know Todd's not going to ream me out over Shadow City, but I would be happier with somebody giving me their honest opinion, and I can take it, and I don't care. But there are tons of people who cannot take it. They just cannot take it. And
Yeah.
if you say even a harsh sentence, they'll remember that for 5 years and screw you over at some later point. My experience on Google Plus was a freaking nightmare for that read. Like it was just constant warfare between people trying to sabotage each other. It was horrible.
That does sound awful.
Oh, I had 9,000 people connected to me on Google Plus, and it was a freaking nightmare. It was everything you said, you had to go, what's going to happen if I come out and I said, even about stuff that you would think would be not that controversial, it would still be script based. So when I shut that down, Google shut it down. I stopped doing that stuff. I took like 3 years off social media completely. I was like, fuck this. I don't want this in my head. And now I only talk about role-playing games. No, if any political event, if any social anything comes up that's not related, I just go. Like, people leave comments that are aggressive to me, and I respond with marketing. So like if someone writes back, you suck a hot blank blank blankety blank, then I write back, if you like heat, check out Shadow Sun. It's setting set in the desert, and then I drop the link. Like, that's it. Like, I'm out. And they think that they're gonna get me, so they come back a couple of times, and I just respond to the different link, and then they realize, oh, he's getting free advertising to everybody that's following me, and then they stop.
Yeah, it's I remember I've actually been attacked on forums that I used to, like the old style forums, and I used to get attacked all the time because I wouldn't moderate anything. I let everything free speech, total free speech, and I was like, oh, you can't allow this to come across the thing. I was like, it's clearly stated. You can say whatever you want on it. I've never had a problem with it other than the people complaining that other people are talking. It's like, it's like, no, I let everybody. I don't have any problems on my Discords. Nobody ever, I haven't actually had to tell anybody there's no politics on my Discord. It just doesn't show up because all we do is we talk about and organize games. That's it. We'll share links to whose video is coming up next, kind of thing. Same thing with my channel here. I almost never get involved with politics on my channel here. I'll talk about gaming politics, that actually impacts the game. Like I talked a little bit about tariffs when they were talking, worried about how tariffs were going to impact the hobby as a whole, but other than that, nothing. They're so much better off just keeping, that kind of discussion, out of your gaming space, and you'll be fine with that. At least you should be fine from 99% of the reasonable people out there. You'll be fine. You still get the 1% lunatics that can't let it go.
Yeah.
One of the big things that I got into on Google Plus was one time I said that I'm in favor of free speech on the internet for everything, including even criminal activity, because that will just reveal the criminal activity.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care what it is. So if somebody wants to go post a whole bunch of stuff about how they did criminal activity, I'll say, go for it, and then we'll just let the FBI look at that, and then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So I don't care. I was like, there's no reason at all to censor anything anywhere ever. And man, people went after me for that for 6 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I kind of miss Google Plus. I used it actually when I was working on my degree in school. We used it for our meetings.
It was too good. That's why they killed it. It allowed you to see what you wanted to see rather than what they wanted to show you.
Yeah.
And because of that, they couldn't come out and say, hey, we're going to have to kill it, because they kept it. A lot of people don't know this. It actually still exists. It's an enterprise solution for businesses, because within intranets and stuff, you want the client to be able to say, I only want to see messages like this.
Yeah.
And create circles of, here's a circle for all of these kind of announcements inside of the business, and here's a circle for these kind of announcements. And so we can move people between these circles depending on their roles and all this stuff. So all the infrastructure is still there. They just killed it on purpose because they don't want you to see what you want to see.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have been caught because of their TikToks and Facebook videos, and where they're doing stuff wrong.
Yeah.
And that's video evidence.
If you want to see it, you can actually see this effect in Facebook. I found out a hack to do it. So what you do is you open up your Facebook feed and you go down and you click on the little X for every single post that's one of those that you're not following somebody already. It's because it says follow right there, right next to the X. So as you scroll down, just click all of them, every single one. Go through 50 of them. Every ad, everything like that. And then the algorithm will temporarily show you only people that you are friends with and you want to see. And you'll get a good feed for like a day.
A day.
And then it will go back to being the other way. Yeah. So that's what you could have. You could have a feed of just what you want to see, but that is not what they will give you. Yeah.
It's like a 12-hour Tylenol.
That's right. Yeah. They're like, oh, baby's getting mad. We'll just comfort the baby for now, and then once this baby's forgotten what's happened, then we'll go back to doing what we were doing.
Oh man, yeah. But it's crazy. I don't know. I see people like that have moved. All these people moved over to Blue Sky, and I'm like, I am not touching Blue Sky with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't. I don't get on TikTok. I don't get on Blue Sky, and I know there's good people that are streaming on TikTok and stuff like that. I don't want to get hit with all that garbage.
I know a few guys that do stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I thought about, do I really want to add to my daily? Like, it's already hard for me to keep up with all the shit I got to keep up with right now.
Yeah.
Do I really want to add Instagram? Maybe there's some automated tool, but then I'd always be wondering what the automated tool is doing.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Facebook account. I just from 2016 on, I really haven't been active like I was, and it just, and of course Twitter started getting like that too, and it just like finally, so to me, I found it liberating, I guess, when Twitter became X and things got better. It's not perfect.
The best thing on Twitter or X, whatever, I always call it Twitter,
Twixer.
is that you can turn off reshares. That is the critical piece of technology, because there's a lot of people who post to their own account good role-playing game content, but then they're constantly resharing political content. Even political content I agree with, I don't want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see like everyday constant it's painful. It's bad for your health.
Yeah.
So I go to those people, and all I have to do is turn off the restreams, and or reshares, and I still get the good stuff. I just don't get the daily politics wave. I cut it out.
Every once in a while, I'll purge my accounts of, just channels I don't follow anymore, or they're not producing anything, or I purge the account of the people I just like completely negative, kind of stuff that's like just infecting the feed, and it'll last for that actually lasts for quite some time, and be like, oh, okay, now I can just relax and just follow these particular storylines, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I have 2 Facebook accounts, though. I have one for gaming and one is a personal
It
account.
recommends me your personal one often.
Huh?
It recommends me your personal one often.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I don't want you to have to worry about that kind of stuff on your personal thing, so I'm not going to add it. But
it's like, and mostly that's all on Facebook. I'm talking
because Facebook doesn't
family.
let you merge accounts, anymore.
Or even rename yourself. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know. That's why I had the fake account, the fake name, for many years when I was, still working for the New York City Department of Education, and you couldn't have any kind of social media connected to you as a teacher, especially as a union rep. You couldn't have that in there, especially during the Bloomberg years. So that's why I had that account created. Then and that used to just be DM Bluddworth. All right. And then they came at me and they said, you got to change your name to your real name because they wouldn't accept DM. And I said, well, those are my initials, and they were like, no, it's got to be a full name. So that's when I threw in the Edward James in there, which is still not my real name.
Yeah.
Character, but
that was the dumbest thing. I don't know where they came up, because if you look at my Facebook, it's still, you look at the URL and it's still got my Death Angel Shadow in there.
Right.
But it's got my real name in there, and it's like, and I don't really care. I mean, I live in East Tennessee. My neighbors are going to see you before I do coming up my driveway, and I'm not too worried about being doxxed. I'm a ham radio operator. You can look me up. My call sign's public record.
I just had an idea for got to have some kind of a modern fairy tale, and there's a character in it that says, "All the better to cancel you with." Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that could be their line, like in Little Red Riding Hood, right? Like,
yeah.
All the better to cancel you with. Like that's part of the maniacal, mustache twirling moment in the fairy tale.
Yeah,
I'm gonna build on this basis. We can go from here.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, you're gonna be Shadow City 2010. 2015.
I'll never forget the time that both Eric Tenkar and I were attacked because we were both retirees, and so we couldn't be touched by anybody.
Right.
We got attacked by this other YouTuber that was like, "Oh, you guys are, you guys could dedicate this time to gaming and everything like that because you can afford to. You don't have to do this for money, and you don't have to do this." It was like they were attacking us for. I have no idea. They were just jealous, I guess.
Yeah.
That we could spend some time on this, or we didn't have to worry, hey, this isn't our day job kind of thing either, and And it was just crazy. Like once they found out that we could not, this individual, once he found out that we could not be held to some kind of cancel, culture that actually mattered, got so pissed off,
Right.
that we were untouchable in that way.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's sad that it's like I don't care what somebody else says. I'm not going to try and cancel them. I don't want to shut other people up.
Yeah.
I just would rather know where they stand, and if I don't like what they stand for, I don't want to affiliate with them.
Yeah.
But especially if they can't shut up about it. That's the big thing. It's like I used to follow Chris Perkins, from when he was with Wizards, and I followed him on then Twitter, right? And something broke in him in 2016, and
Yeah, his
he just
articles changed.
he got very, he went all political nonstop, and and it's like, dude, I just obviously you hate me because of what I believe. I can't follow you anymore. I can't stand, because it's just like spewing venom nonstop,
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I follow you because of your gaming content, because of what you produce, not what you believe.
I get it. Like for me, a long time ago, it was Zach Smith. It was like I respect the work. I respect the game, right? Like even if we have disagreements as people, right? Like Tom Cruise, I use as an example all the time. Tom Cruise is fucking nuts, right?
Oh yeah.
But as a creator, as a person who produces a thing, he is excellent.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. So whatever his personal problem is, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't think about it at all. I just watch the movie and I'm like, hell yeah, he's doing a great job. And there are other people who I might agree with 100%, but if they do a shitty job as an actor, I don't like them either. Like it doesn't affect me at all what they do.
It's like De Niro is lately. He's the latest one that's just gone off the rails, and it's like, dude, what happened to the guy from the movies?
Yeah.
This makes me not want to not see anything you're in now.
Well, I think 2016 ruined a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's bottom line. It destroyed a lot of people.
And I don't care where you stand on it. That's fine. We can disagree and still have fun and be friends and whatever. That's cool. But when you can't shut up about it.
I've always tried to separate the art from the artist,
right?
Basically, and I still get attacked sometimes. Actually, just today, I had somebody post there. I was like, "Don't you know that this guy is a convicted, murderer and a self-avowed neo-Nazi?" I was like, "I'm just talking about the game system, dude. It's like if I look at the background of every single person, I'm going to find something that is objectionable about their past or whatever." I was like, the same guy is also an anti-American, and I am as pro-American as you could probably get.
Right, you're a vet, aren't you?
Huh? Yes.
You're a veteran, yeah.
So it's like, but I look at the game system, and I never thought that the game system, merited the attacks that it was getting. I was like, it's a halfway decent game system. Considering what's written in prison, I was like, it's pretty darn impressive,
Wow.
But I mean, I looked at Fatal the same way. I was like, I'm impressed that somebody managed to put together a totally bonkers but 900-page freaking RPG, and he was young when he wrote it.
I actually wrote a post on Google Plus, which is of course now vaporized.
Yeah.
I actually took I didn't read every word, but I skimmed through it to see if I could find anything that could be salvageable in some sense.
Yeah.
And the only one that I remember, I found quite a few things, because even a deranged person occasionally has some insight that you might not pick up. But there was a part where he talked about the difference between the justice systems of like trolls and hobgoblins and humans, and he has like different ways that their legal processes work. And I was like, this is good. This is actually really good. Like, we should keep this part, you know. And it's in there. I mean, I still have the PDF on my hard drive. I could probably find it.
Yeah, I know. I still have the PDF.
But yeah, like I mean, like I know, like he had that, you know, he had that insight. Like the trolls would actually have a different justice system because they could just regenerate everything.
Wasn't he? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't he a teenager when he wrote that?
I have no idea.
I think he was a teenager when he wrote this. I was like, for a teenager to write 900 pages of anything.
Oh yeah, that's
a
insane.
lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he was very young. I think he was like maybe in his late teens when Fatal was written.
Jacques was like 23 when Cavern of Thracia was written.
Yeah.
I think it's like, it blows my mind. Like that at that age to have not just even figured out how to make a comparable product to other people, but to be so radically advanced and do your own. Half of the art is done by them. Like,
well, wasn't Dark Tower was first though?
I don't know about the sequel.
I'm literally about to do a video on that tomorrow. That very topic tomorrow was creating OSR dungeons, and dungeon design, and I was going to actually focus in on that. I think Dark Tower was first. So I have Dark Tower in front of me right now. Dark Tower was done in 79.
Right. And then Caverns of Thracia was, I thought that was 77 that Thracia came.
Oh, was it?
I'll have the answer in a second.
Our AI overlords going to answer us.
Let's see. Let me see.
I was just going to pull it up.
I thought Dark Dungeons was first. Let me double check.
I've got both.
It says modules Dark Dungeon, Dark Tower, and then Caverns of Thracia. So
79 for Thracia.
And it was 79 for Dark Tower?
Yep, 79 for Thracia, Judges Guild.
All right. So, and it was 80 for Dark Dungeon, Dark Tower. Blah.
Huh.
All right.
Yeah, not to be confused with the tabletop game.
No.
The board game.
Yeah.
Let's see, when did it come out? AI keeps on wanting to bring up Milton Bradley.
Yeah.
By the way, I learned if you type in any search query and at the end you just do space -AI, it will not give you any AI results.
Really?
Yeah, I think I've heard you say that before. 1980. Yeah, so Dark Tower came out in 80, so 79 and 80.
Yeah, I wish I could just add that to my, go open up a DOS box and add that as a root value to my computer, and it would just automatically delete any of it from everything.
It would be nice.
Jordan Peterson in that interview where he suggested that somebody should make it an app, that the
non-AI
purpose
browser
of the app is to find and delete it from everything. That every time you're scrolling down something and there's something that's AI or something that's whatever it is, if you are alcoholic and you don't want to see any pictures of alcohol, whatever it is, you could just configure it and it would just mass delete it from your life. Just, that would be perfect. Whoever invents that app, you got my money.
Yeah, one of these people making a browser should just do that. I mean, there's lots of alternate browsers out there, Opera and.
Well, even I use PowerPoint a lot for work and for personal stuff too. But anytime you copy, you can take a screenshot. So it's not like you're taking an image file that has metadata on it, right? Like you're just taking a screenshot, you just click and drag, boom, throw it in, put it into PowerPoint, and it will automatically make an alt text entry for the image that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
You have a picture of Aragorn and crew on a horse, right? And it'll say, 4 men on a horse. It'll put it whatever it is. So if it can do that, it should be able to be like, this picture has alcohol in it. this guy doesn't want to see alcohol, gone. This picture has whatever it is you don't want to see.
You can modify AI generated art to do exactly that.
Yeah.
Like I was just messing around with it.
I'm talking like on my device. Like if I open up Facebook, just delete everything that fits a particular parameter that I can set.
Oh, okay.
Like yeah.
The first thing I would do would be politics. I would get rid of almost all of it.
Yeah, almost like a bad words list, but for subjects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you could put a particular person's name in, but then people might call them, say, orange colored person, and then that would get through, right? Yeah. So you can't really keyword yourself out of certain conversations completely.
But I think the initial idea that you mentioned, which is just one that will get rid of all AI content, would probably be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be just as a regular thing, because I swear, and they push an update, and then you can disable certain things, and then they do an update and it re-enables it. Microsoft has been doing that too, and they're pushing this darn Copilot thing. Oh my God, I hate it.
Super hard.
Oh,
and I don't want to turn this into a big AI discussion, but I think that there's certain questions that really help clarify kind of what the creepiness is about certain stuff. So like my wife watches a lot of cute animal videos, right? Mm-hmm. Common thing. And she's showing me animal video, and we're starting to see in some of these that they're AI, because like the animal reacts in a way that is too slow for, like, a dog would have definitely detected whatever the thing was before, the dog would have reacted, and the AI is just, it's not good enough to make a dog react normally.
Like the rabbits jumping on the trampoline.
Yeah, stuff like that.
I mean, that was like, duh.
Yeah. So you're starting to go, well, what if we get to the point where the only videos you can find, because they're flooding everything with this stuff, is AI animals? Now, this is not like a deep moral issue, right? Like, who cares? But do you want your day to be filled with watching videos of fake animals?
Yeah, it's like
computer hallucinations.
Like, I feel like this question really gets to it reveals something in the like I don't want to see videos of fake animals. I want to see a real video of the. I don't want to have to spend hours making sure that I'm watching videos of real animals. That's nuts.
It's like those advertisements for those robot dogs. It's like how is that even considered a replacement for a real dog? They show these little tiny fluffy little things, and they're cute, but it's a dog. It's a robot. It's a toy. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not going to replace a real dog with that thing.
No. I have the mighty Thor upstairs. I'm sure that it's the minute I walk up there, he'll look at me and he'll give me those eyes and say, I want to lay in your lap, Daddy.
I got a little guy who's like 10 pounds, and we probably have 3 to 5 years left, but he's getting to where you're really noticing that he's getting to be an elderly dog, and you always wonder, like, how much time do I have? Because I know when he passes, my wife's going to want to get 2 little guys. So it's just a countdown for me. Like, well, at some point, this dog is going to duplicate himself into 2, because she just loves having these little cute. He's a poodle Maltese mix. It's just incredibly super cute.
Isn't that's something like what Eric Tenkar got, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. He got a small dog as well.
Poodle something mix.
Yeah, it's a poodle. They're mixing a ton of stuff with poodles, because poodles are so intelligent.
Yeah.
That whatever you cross it with, it makes like a genius level. Like Maltese dogs by themselves are probably pretty dumb, but when you put a poodle in there, they become like my guy. Like he knows like 50 words. Like he can tell exactly what you're talking about from the actual phonics, not from your emotional content or whatever. Like he actually knows the word. And so like he's super smart. He uses his hands for all kinds of things. He can open stuff. Like It's crazy. Poodles are wicked.
That's Lily.
Yeah.
Lily's like that. She likes to let herself in the back door, and she's on a tie out, so she can't get in the back door, but she'll open the back door and start barking and saying, "Hey." And in the summer, that's not good because now she's letting the air conditioner outside. And in the winter, that's not good because if it's cold, but
Yeah.
she does the little thing where she'll stick her paw up and then kind of droop it, like almost like a begging thing. It's kind of
Dogs are smart when they want to be.
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, she still thinks she's a lap dog. She's not a lap dog. She's like 70 something pounds, so she's too big to be crawling up in my lap. And she sheds. Oh my gosh, she's the closest breed we can find to what she is like a Nova Scotia duck tolling retriever. Basically, she's like the smallest retriever, except she's kind of on the big side, so she may be a mix too. But that's a problem. Anytime that you have a purebred, there's a lot of inbreeding.
Yeah, it's not good for just vet bills,
Yeah, but I love my puppies. I've never been a cat person. They like me for some reason, but my friends have cats.
I feel the same, but that's because I'm allergic to cats, so I don't want them anywhere near me.
I lived with cats for years and years and years, and then when I got a divorce, I moved out, and I was like, I don't want all the animal, I'll just be with that. And I had like a week where it was like I was breathing pure oxygen. Like I was high all the time. Like it was so good to have air.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never going back to having a cat.
Your O2
much
levels.
as I love cats, like I can just, it's amazing the level of breathing difference. It's crazy.
But the things like the animal behaviors, I don't think AI could ever, even creatures, the monsters and stuff like that. I think that's the type of thing that I just don't see AI ever being. They can do the mechanical things, but I don't think they can do the emotional things. The motivations.
Also, like, they don't understand that you're talking about a physical object or whatever, because everything to them exists as language.
Right.
So if I tell you, like, for instance, that there's a warranty on the product, right? It can understand what a warranty is from a definitional standpoint, but it doesn't really actually understand what a warranty means, right? Like what it actually does. So if you ask a question that a normal person would go, oh, well, then that would fall under the warranty, it'll often miss that because it's not able to recognize patterns at that level of abstraction, because you're asking it. So it not only has to hear you say warranty, whatever. If you don't say warranty, then the only way that it can know that you're talking about a warranty is to put that together on context clues. And if you're not even talking about something like you haven't brought up warranty, that means it has to know and have it like in its active memory that you're talking about a warranty. Like it just can't do that. Like it forgets stuff after 20 questions or so. It can't remember what happened at the beginning of the conversation. So like the idea that it's going to remember some crap from how a warranty works on some other thing, like it just doesn't. It can't think the way a human does.
Yeah,
you can't put things together.
My Google Hub was getting confused, and we were trying to ask it questions, and it was cutting us off. And I'm like, really? Why are you cutting us off in the middle of a question? It's not like we were delaying it. It's like, I think it needs to be rebooted or something.
For every question that you ask AI, my suggestion is at the end you put a comma and you put answer in the style of Sean Connery from Celebrity Jeopardy on SNL. I promise you this. Try it. It improves the quality of every conversation. It adds all of these like James Bondisms to the way that it talks to you. Like, oh my dear, you should blah blah blah. Like everything is improved. and then it makes snarky jokes by making it Sean Connery on Celebrity Jeopardy rather than in the style of James Bond. So it starts to insult you. It says maybe you'll be able to figure this out if I say it this way. Like it's very good. I recommend this for every query is improved.
Well, certainly don't use Sam Kinison in one of those, right?
Oh wow!
Oh. Yeah.
You can do that to your enemies. Put that in there. Put that as like a term that always gets triggered for every query. Yeah. Always answer in the style of Siri.
Wasn't there one for Siri that you could use? What's his name? He was in Star Wars, but he was also Nick Cage and stuff like that. I can see his face. I don't know. At any rate, he answers like that.
You know, you can play Starfinder on Siri.
Really?
Yeah, if you have a Siri device, just say, or maybe it's Alexa. It might be Alexa. You say, open Starfinder, and it will run like a choose your own adventure game in Starfinder.
Really?
Seriously, yeah.
I'll have to try that.
I'm sure somebody in the chat's probably already said what I'm thinking.
I should say, guys, it's been great talking with you, but I need to get going.
Yeah. It's actually running kind of late, so we could wrap this thing up and everything. So, hey guys, thanks a lot for coming on in. Great chat. Great. I know we went into
I'm gonna put my finger up like Todd as well.
Really good stuff. So,
good night, fellow citizens.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
That's good.
Richard's great as always.
Yep. Good to see you all, and hopefully we get an opportunity to play some Shadow Dark together and everything. So I'll definitely be looking at that, and I like this.
Greg, let me know too on the Monday thing. I might be able to pull that off.
Yeah. I get home late on Mondays, so it's kind of depending on when you do it actually on Mondays.
What time is that? At 6 or is that at 8?
Mine's
I'm
at
not
7.
7 Eastern.
Yeah.
6 in the interior time zone.
Central.
Whatever it's called, I forget. Central, yes.
Yeah. That's Alabama time.
Yeah.
And it's 8:00 if you're about 20 miles offshore. If you're in the middle of the Atlantic,
Well, Atlantic time doesn't change. Like we have customers in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands and stuff. Believe it or not, they're all in the same time. They're all in that time zone. But
I work with some people that are on the Atlantic time zone, and it's really creepy when
sometimes they're on the same time as
they're
Eastern.
like very early in the morning. They're like, "Hey, I did all this stuff," and you're like, "Oh man, come on."
Yeah.
Let's wait till 10 to get that done.
Yeah, and I don't come in till 11, so But by the same token, when I'm in, the people in California are usually getting into So
anyway, all right, guys, thanks a lot, and like I said, so Death Angels, if you're free on Saturdays, or Chubby, if you're free on Saturdays and you want to jump in,
I'm running that OSC game, or I will.
Okay, so
Sundays might be a good day, though. That might be a good day for something.
Yeah. Let me know. Let me know whatever's works out, for you, and just drop something in Discord.
Yeah.
And
I think I've got your. I think you've.
Oh
DM'd,
you're in. You're my Discord. Yeah. So just drop it in Discord and let me know. All right, everyone. You all have a great remainder of your weekend. I know it's already Sunday.
Thanks.
Good.